Hi guys, Scott Speed here, welcoming you to the Volkswagen Beetle GRC car here in iRacing. It is so fun. Wanted to give you guys some pointers around the track here. This is the actual track that we drove in Daytona. It looks unbelievable. When you see the footage from the onboard of the actual track, it's crazy how similar they got it. Give you some tips on the car. First thing you're gonna notice is this thing is a 2-liter turbo engine that has over 600 horsepower, and it is geared for acceleration. So you're gonna go through the gearbox very quickly. That's the first thing you know. As soon as you leave the pits, you're gonna be like, wow, because you're just gonna have to upshift gears very rapidly. And then you're gonna get on the brakes for the first time, and you're gonna notice this big momentum shift. The car is gonna lean over, it's gonna have a ton of weight transfer, and that's because we run really soft springs in this thing to get the traction that you're gonna need in the dirt. Once you get through the first corner, you're probably gonna realize that as soon as you touch the throttle, it doesn't really want to turn anymore. You gotta be aware that four-wheel drive likes to stop very quickly, and it likes to go very quickly. It doesn't like to corner so much. To the first corner, you definitely wanna wait until you're kind of straight to get on the gas, and that'll bring you up to the really fun section. And you get to experience dirt in a four-wheel drive rally car for the first time, and it's incredible. The thing you're gonna notice is that the car wants to just continue going in whatever direction it started in. So when you approach these corners, you're really gonna have to turn quite before the corner, very early, and the car is gonna develop this momentum to it. It's still very important to hit the apex and to be very tidy and clean, but you're gonna have to do that with the momentum of the car. And then you got this nice jump that is really fun. One thing to keep in mind when you're in the air is if you hit the brakes, the front end will come down. If you hit the gas, the front end will come up a little bit. So you got to control, kind of like an airplane, the pitch of the car in the air so you're kind of flying straight. And as soon as you land here, you're going to want to start heading left. You're going to give it a big input and start it sliding to the left. And you're just going to be constantly trying to slow this thing down to make this corner, because it's very, very slippery and it's a very tight corner. And the preferred line, believe it or not, is still going to be right here at the apex. Once you get out of here, the next couple corners are relatively simple, typical tarmac corners. Not a lot to these stuff. This is all flat out. And yeah, let's see what a full lap looks like.
Hello everybody, welcome once again to more RallyCross action here on V8s Online. We're back for round 2 of the Cut Price Racing RallyCross series hosted by the Oceanic Sim Racing League, and it should be a very interesting night of racing. Iowa Speedway is our destination here tonight, the RallyCross version of that circuit. A bit of a different experience than Daytona, needing different sort of masteries of the Rallycross format to do well, and might well toss up a bit, may even toss up in a bit of a different form guide, as we can sometimes see in Rallycross because of the layouts of the circuits varying on their degrees of tarmac and gravel. It all can sort of change things up once again. So should be an awesome night of racing, and we look forward to bringing it to you here on V8 Online. I'm Thomas Hens, leading you through on comms, and alongside me for tonight once again is Mr. Cameron Dance. Hello, Cam.
Hello. Yes, it's going to be a very good night. We're going to be seeing.
I think we may have Cam just having some. Yeah, Cam.
Sorry, I was just getting in the server. As I was saying,
there we go.
it's going to be a very interesting bit of racing tonight, with it being such a quite technical circuit. So can't actually wait to see what actually happens tonight.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, it's got that. It's a very interesting circuit with the transitions onto the oval, because unlike Daytona, it does use a section of the oval circuit, which does throw a bit of a curveball in there. And the Joker lap, which I find quite interesting with this circuit, Cam, the Joker lap is a lot shorter than the normal lap. So the use of that Joker lap is going to be even more crucial than Daytona, because we thought Daytona cut a bit off the lap. This Joker lap just almost cuts probably a quarter or a third off the lap.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very, very short. So using that choke lap is going to prove quite a bit of an advantage to getting you out of traffic and into clean air, but it's definitely going to make things very, very interesting, that's for sure.
For sure, yeah. So we'll be watching to see how our drivers handle it. The jump, again, in a different location. The jump is actually the last part of the circuit before the start-finish line, which will, again, throw a bit of a spanner in the works. A bit of a difficult one to line up as well. Daytona was a bit tricky with the way, with the jump being right out of a chicane. But the jump for tonight is also awkward in a bit of a different way, because it is basically you jump onto it from the tarmac. So you come on the tarmac out of the hairpin there in the last corner. There's a sweeping right-hander, and then you get the jump, and it can be a bit awkward to hit, can't it, Cam? Because you still got that momentum from the tarmac and still adjusting to the gravel. So I wonder if we'll maybe see some shenanigans on the jump tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very tricky jump indeed, with the way that you're kind of going through a corner and at the same time hitting a jump. So you've kind of got to position the car to the point where you can hit it in a straight line and not end up in the tyre bundle or the start-finish line posts, as numerous people have over the course of the weekend in week 13, which was quite a bit of humour to see happen, but it's not the most ideal thing to happen when you're the driver.
Yeah, for sure, and again, it's actually quite come to think of it, this is definitely in my mind, as you mentioned, probably a bit more technical than Daytona, because there isn't as much room around all of the circuit. You've got the use of the oval, so you've got that transition of the banking on the oval, and you've also got the jump, as we mentioned, but also the last transition when you go from the dirt to the tarmac, the only transition from dirt to tarmac on this course, and we're already seeing a bundle on the track there as Cam Taylor went past. That little section I was talking about is that chicane there, the transition the other way. Unlike Daytona, it's not from tarmac to gravel, it's gravel to tarmac. And as we were mentioning with the jump, Cam, it's a similar story, isn't it? Because suddenly you've got the gravel, you've got the lack of grip, and then all of a sudden the car grips up on you as it's the tarmac, and you've got a chicane to deal with. So you've got to line it up, or else you might spear into one of those tyre barriers.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to make sure that you turn in early enough, but not too early to the point where the car grips up and spears you straight into that tyre bundle on the inside. So it's going to be all about precision tonight for some of these guys, and also making sure the car is set up so it doesn't over-rotate on that transition from gravel to tarmac.
Exactly right, yeah. So we're watching that with interest tonight. Also worth noting, we're live across the board here tonight. We're live on Facebook, on Twitch, Twitter, Periscope, and YouTube. We're live all over the interwebs on various different platforms, so I hope you're going to be enjoying the show tonight, whichever platform you choose to watch on. We've got the first heat coming up tonight. Once again, we've picked one of the heats that are going on as our first one of the night, and starting with this one here, it's a 10-lap race again, just like a Daytona, 2 Joker runs to use, which, as we mentioned, are going to be really interesting to watch here with the way the Joker is here, with how much of the course it cuts off. It really is quite insane just how much of the course it cuts off and how much shorter the lap is. So it's going to mix up the field a lot, and it's going to be a bit probably harder to judge than Daytona, because if there's people with varying uses of the Joker, we're really not going to know where the field is until probably the last lap or two when everyone's used it, because it just gives you that much time to use it. But it's a good little field of drivers in this first heat. We'll go through the entrance now for this first heat of the night. First night of racing here again, CPR Rallycross. We have Stephen Jenkins in the number 2 machine, Dylan Shepherd in the number 4, Cam J. Taylor, number 14. He's one who was watching at Daytona, made it to the final, had a solid run in that as well, so could be one to watch out to have a bit of a quiet one, possibly. It's sort of what he did at Daytona, a bit of a quiet night, just kept his nose clean and got through to the final and got a solid first result to start off his championship. So one to watch again tonight. Daniel Gow in the number 22, Jake Burton here tonight, the number 35. Watch out for him. Obviously very, very quick in the V8 supercars, and I think he's very much been enjoying his Rallycross so far, so wouldn't be surprised we see him up there as well. Daniel Ackland, who's another one who's been showing his talents in the Rallycross. He's very quick again in the V8s and various different machinery that he does drive, but he's really showing quite a special talent here for Rallycross. Very quick indeed in these cars. Christopher Simpson and Matt Allison round out your field in this first heat. Should be a cracker. I think it is entirely Ford Focuses though, unfortunately, so I don't think we have a single Beetle in this heat, so it's going to be a Ford show, but either way, it should be a highly entertaining one, Cam.
Yeah, absolutely. Domination of the blue oval, as I've just seen Dylan Shepherd actually clip that type on the transition from the gravel to the tarmac. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting race, actually. It's quite a mixed field of drivers, so definitely going to be a cracker of a race, I reckon.
Yeah, for sure. As I mentioned, there's a couple there that showed their talent in these cars in round one, and a couple maybe not quite on the pace, and a couple unknown, as Jake Burton is one. Didn't make it to the first round, but I think with the later start tonight, is able to make it to this one. And as I mentioned, he's very quick in the V8 supercars, and generally in most cars I've seen him drive, he's a very talented driver in pretty much anything that has wheels. So looking good in practice here. Only a couple of attempts off the fastest lap, which is actually Dylan Shepherd right now with a 37.345. He's another one who can be very quick, shown a lot of talent in GT cars, seems to be his speciality. But looking pretty pacey here in Rallycross, although making a few bits of contact here in practice. He tries to get the hang of the car. We'll see how he goes, as Burton just puts in the fast lap in practice just then with a 37.196. So we'll see if he translates that into race pace. But yeah, bit of a mixed one for this first heat. But hopefully we'll still see some awesome racing and a bit of a showing of the night to come. Wouldn't be surprised if it's similar to the last week. We had this last week where it started off sort of good racing to start with, but just kept getting better as obviously we nailed down the field and closed in on the final. So we'll see how that goes. But we've now switched to the race session. We're about to get ready to go. Who are we watching this one, Cam?
I think Burton's going to run away with this one, to be fairly honest. He's probably the quickest one in this field, although, like I said, some of these guys have adapted to the Rallycross cars actually quite quickly and well, so you can't count out the likes of Dylan Shepherd or Daniel Ackland or even Cam J. Taylor, so it's very much going to be very interesting and going to be quite fascinating to see how that Joker actually comes into play as we hear the engines revving.
Yep, indeed. We're about to get ready to go here. Heat 1 of the night, and we are away for CPR Rallycross Round 2 at Iowa Speedways. They charge into Turn 1, all very close to the front. Nearly can't fit 3 wide, but it looks like Daniel Ackland's got the jump. A lovely start. Oh, a couple of the Ford Fiestas behind, going all over the place trying to go over the jump. But look at this, Jake Burton up the inside of Ackland through the hairpin up the jump there. And Shepherd's going to take the Joker, yeah. And Shepherd and Burton's taking the Joker straight away, and I think someone else followed him through as well. So two of them already taking the Joker. That's Cam and Jake. And what that does do is they're now out of this fight. They're out in clear air. Let's see if they can use that to get away from these guys, as Ackland and Shepherd are really taking chunks over each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Burton and Taylor have definitely played it smart and gotten the Joker out of the way.
Shepherd.
Shepherd and Ackland going side by side over the jump just about.
Wow.
Not quite the most ideal place to do it, but Ackland's managed to hold on.
Yeah, that was a very, very sneaky pass attempt from Shepherd. He's going to take the Joker here, so Shepherd takes that cue as well, and he's going to take his Joker too. In fact, a lot of the guys further back have, so I think only Allison and Ackland haven't taken their Joker now. And Shepherd has passed Taylor. There you go. So great stuff from Dylan Shepherd. Taylor not quite able to keep the pace going and use the clean air to his fullest advantage. But we know how quick Cam can be, we know how consistent he can be too. So I'm be surprised if he starts to get back and try and challenge Shepherd in the near future. But this is probably going to be a little bit of a sign of the racing tonight. It'll spread out a fair bit, especially in these early stages, as everyone chooses and picks when to take their joker. But in those last few laps is when we'll get a really good idea of the true order. But either way, at the moment, Jake Burton out in front, leading the way, has taken both his jokers straight off the bat. So he's now just got a clean run and looking really, really comfortable out there in the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just pulled away super quick and in a way that you'd pretty much expect him to, just about. So probably going to be looking like a win for him at this stage, a very dominant win as well. So going to be interesting as we've got Stephen Jenkins and Daniel Gale having a go at each other.
Yeah, it's for P4, so Gao, Jenkins, who I believe have both only taken one joker. Oh no, actually Gao's taken both his jokers, so Jenkins should have him overall, but that doesn't mean they don't have to fight for it. Gao putting up a good challenge here on Jenkins. They go back onto the oval section, you can see the differing styles as Gao's around out of the hairpin there onto the oval, so that's going to lose him a chunk of time and put him out of that battle effectively. With Jenkins, we've got a few others still going around. Ackland, by the way, is only now done one of his jokers. He's popped out P4 right behind Cam Taylor. So Taylor holds on into P3, and it looks like none of them are going to take their second joker as they continue on. So keep in mind, all these guys, second, third, fourth, yet to take their second joker. So they're not as far away from Burton as they would seem. We've seen how much that cuts off. So Burton might not quite be dominating this as much as he looks right now, but I do think he has the lead effectively. But by how much, we'll soon see when everyone takes their jokers. But it's battle for second's one to watch, because Shepherd, Cam and Ackland are all pretty close on pace, and Jenkins is there or thereabouts as well, not too far behind.
Yeah, definitely. That final joker for the guys just behind Burton is going to definitely come into effect, and it's going to be probably quite close when they do take it and come out the other side. But yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this battle ends up turning out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, interesting note as well is that Shepherd half a second faster than Burton last lap by, and Burton's got traffic now in the form of Matt Allison, who's still going around yet to do a joker, yet he hasn't done either of his jokers. Will he do it now to clear traffic? He will, so good stuff there from Allison. Smart driving, gets out of Jake's way and gets him further up the road. But yeah, Dylan Shepherd still yet to do that second joker, and his pace really good last 3 laps, low 37s every single time, and still quicker than Burton, only by about a 10th last time round. But looking pretty strong here, Dylan Shepherd. One to watch throughout the night. Cam J. Taylor also actually was the quickest of the 3 of them last time around with a 37.2 lightning pace from Cam. And Ackland actually just dropping off on that last lap, was a second slower than the guys ahead. And Jenkins is falling off as well. As Daniel Gow's around again in P6 as well. I think that's just before the transition section and the jump. He's trying to get it turned around now. Always a real pain to turn these cars around, being four-wheel drive. They don't like to flick spin as easily as rear-wheel drive cars do. But Daniel keeps going. He's a lap down now, but he can at least try and bring it home and get a result out of this first heat. But we're 8 laps in of this 10-lap race. Only 3 to go. It'll be 2 to go next time by. And it's been a pretty dominant performance from Jake. But again, the likes of Dylan Shepherd have not done that second joker, so we're not quite sure where they're going to pop out. As you say, I think Jake will have it, but we'll see. Oh, there he goes. Ackland jumps to second as he now takes his joker, so he's done both his joke laps for the race. Now he's good to go to the end. And interesting to note how close he is to Burton. Not too far off, and we know obviously Shepherd and Cam should be closer than Ackland, so it might be a little closer than we thought it would be.
Yeah, definitely, and I'd presume Shepherd is going to take his joker, which he has, and it's actually going to be very close. He's actually jumped Burton.
Oh, wow. There you go. Shepherd does get him, and he actually gets him quite nicely. So really good stuff from Shepherd. I mean, yeah, from Dylan Shepherd. Really solid pace, and I think that's what got him up there. Every lap was just banging in low 37s with these. Meanwhile, Burton was pretty much doing mid-37s. His last lap now. Dylan Shepherd now leading this race. The one to watch will be Cam Taylor. Can he maybe spoil Burton's party and drop into third? Burton trying to charge down Shepherd, but I tell you what, Shepherd's pace has been absolutely lightning in this first heat. Really solid stuff. Ackland continues on, obviously having done both his jokers. Here comes Cam Taylor. Not going to be close enough to challenge either Burton or Shepherd. They're going down the oval section now. Burton's trying to throw everything he can here at Shepherd as they go on to the final few corners. Oh, contact!
Turned him. Oh, and he's waiting as well. And this is going to totally change the order.
Cam is there, and he's going to get his.
Oh no, he's lost it.
Oh my goodness! And out of all this, Jake Burton wins the heat. just over Dylan Shepherd in the end with that dramatic finish. Cam Taylor just seen the seas part, couldn't quite get through the gap, and he ends up getting a spin, still gets third. We've got a Cup Price Racing replay on the screen now. That was an unbelievable finish. As you saw, just Burton going for that move up the inside. It was a very late look up the inside, but the door was open. He had to try as the last lap. Unfortunately, contact made. He did the right thing, though. Tried to stay and wait for Shepherd, but Shepherd gets out of the way. Cam comes through trying to take advantage, but just clipped Shepherd. That's what it was. He just clipped Shepherd there as he was trying to go through. That's put him into the wall. And in the end, Burton's the one who gains from that, taking the win in the heat. What a way to finish that heat, Cam, there. I thought that was over, but last corner, always throws the poses.
Yeah, absolutely, and absolutely awesome way to finish the first heat of the night. So it's, if this is anything to go by, the rest of the night's just going to be an absolute humdinger of a result.
Yeah, we've got the results on screen as well. I have to agree with that, Cam. It's looking like being a very, very good night of racing without a super finish to that heat. It had some good fighting throughout. It was maybe a bit more spaced out than we have had previously at Daytona, probably just with the nature of the Iowa circuit. But it all turned on there at the end. But Jake Burton took the heat win in the end from Dylan Shepherd. Cam Taylor does still get third, so in the end he didn't really lose anything from that spin. So it's status quo for him. Daniel Ackland ends up in P4, probably a little bit further back than he would hope, so we'll see if maybe that pace will come to him as the night goes on. P5 was actually Matt Allison in the end. He took his jokers late and ended up jumping Stephen Jenkins, so great result for him there. And I believe actually Daniel Gow did bring it around in the end to get a result in P7, a lap down. And then only retirement from that first heat was Christopher Simpson, 6 laps down there in the 8th after retiring early on. So yeah, pretty exciting first heat. And yeah, 7th and 8th will be both in the LCQ, which will obviously be run the next time round. Same sort of format as last time, but obviously cutting down numbers a bit more than we were last time round. But those last two will be in the LCQ. Same with the other 4 heats, I believe, was going on. The last 2 will be in the LCQ, which will be run alongside the next round of heats. But there you go. Awesome first little bit of racing here in the second round of CPR's RallyCross series hosted by OSR. Your winner in that heat there was Jake Burton, Dylan Shepherd second, and Cam J. Taylor third to round out your podium. And as we said, a very, very exciting finish to the race, and I get the feeling we might see that a bit throughout the night. That last corner does kind of tempt you into having a bit of a look up the inside, especially if the door is open, and we'll see if we have some more shenanigans later on. But awesome first heat. I think we should be able to have a little break here with Jay's blessing after that heat. We'll come back for the second heat of tonight, CPR Rallycross. Hope you're enjoying the show.
Hi guys, Scott Speed here, welcoming you to the Volkswagen Beetle GRC car here in iRacing. It is so fun. Wanted to give you guys some pointers around the track here. This is the actual track that we drove in Daytona. It looks unbelievable. When you see the footage from the onboard of the actual track, it's crazy how similar they got it. Give you some tips on the car. First thing you're gonna notice is this thing is a 2-liter turbo engine that has over 600 horsepower. And it is geared for acceleration. So you're gonna go through the gearbox very quickly. That's the first thing you know. As soon as you leave the pits, you're gonna be like, wow. You're just gonna have to upshift gears very rapidly. And then you're gonna get on the brakes for the first time and you're gonna notice this big momentum shift. As the car is gonna lean over, it's gonna have a ton of weight transfer, and that's because we run really soft springs in this thing to get the traction that you're gonna need in the dirt. Once you get through the first corner, you're probably going to realize that as soon as you touch the throttle, it doesn't really want to turn anymore. You've got to be aware that 4-wheel drive likes to stop very quickly and it likes to go very quickly. It doesn't like to corner so much. To the first corner, you definitely want to wait until you're kind of straight to get on the gas, and that'll bring you up to the really fun section. And you get to experience dirt in a 4-wheel drive rally car for the first time, and it's incredible. The thing you're going to notice is that the car wants to just continue going in whatever direction it started in. So when you approach these corners, you're really going to have to turn quite before the corner, very early, and the car is going to develop this momentum to it. It's still very important to hit the apex and to be very tidy and clean, but you're going to have to do that with the momentum of the car. And then you got this nice jump that is really fun. One thing to keep in mind when you're in the air is if you hit the brakes, the front end will come down. If you hit the gas, the front end will come up a little bit. So you got to control, kind of like an airplane, the pitch of the car in the air so you're kind of flying straight. And as soon as you land here, you're going to want to start heading left. You're going to give it a big input and start it sliding to the left. And you're just going to be constantly trying to slow this thing down to make this corner, because it's very, very slippery and it's a very tight corner. And the preferred line, believe it or not, is still going to be right here at the apex. Once you get out of here, the next couple corners are relatively simple, typical tarmac corners. Not a lot to these stuff. This is all flat out. And yeah, let's see what a full lap looks like.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, and many more. iRacing.com, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
Welcome back to V8's Online Cup Price Racing Rallycross Round 2, hosted by OSR here at Iowa Speedway. Here for the second round of heats of the night, so we've got 3 heats going. Then we also have the last chance qualifier running alongside these. So similar format as it was to last week, but just tightened up a bit to make things a bit quicker for time. And that means there is no qualifying for each heat, so that's been taken out just so we can try and get through these heats a bit quicker, so we're not leaving everyone waiting between heats quite so long, and yeah, should hopefully make things a little bit speedier so we can get through the final a bit quicker and see all the action unfold. But we've got a really nice heat lining up here for the second round with a good list of drivers here. Yet again, quite a few very handy steerers in this one, actually. I won't be surprised if we see a good few of these people in the final even, or at least the last chance qualifier, because there's quite a few real quick people in this session. So of the list we have here, we have Brodie Whitmore, Cam J. Taylor, who we saw in the last heat, nearly snatched a victory that last corner mayhem, but not quite able to pick it up, but still showing good pace once again. Matthew Clotes in the number 54, then Richard Brookfield in the 64, Gavin Sadler, Scott Larnack, who's showing some very nice pace here on Rallycross in this format, and Scotty Harris of the 161 is another one who we've seen be quite speedy in these cars. Seems to be a bit of a specialist in the loose or the gravel of Rallycross, and it's going to be interesting to watch how he goes in this heat, because obviously, as we said, Iowa, only the one gravel section of the circuit, the rest is asphalt, a bit more asphalt than there is at Daytona. So it's going to be interesting to see how he performs. But tell you what, Cam, we should have a very, very nice heat lined up here. Some very feisty drivers, some very quick drivers as well. So I think we'll have a really nice battle on the top sort of half the field.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't discount any of these guys, actually, and as they're pretty much all very well capable of winning or even possibly being on the podium. So it's going to be a very, very close race, I reckon, and we're bound to see some awesome racing going on.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see how this all pans out as we get ready to go. Got about another 4 minutes until we go to the race. Nice quick transition to the second round of heats. I'm trying to think of who I'll be watching. I mean, really, to me, I think the top main 4 to watch will probably be Scotty Harris, Cam J. Taylor, Scott Larnack, and Brodie Whitmore. Probably going to be the 4 main ones I'll be watching, as they've proven how quick they are in these cars, both at Daytona and throughout the heats so far tonight in their first round of heats. And also one thing to note that I've just seen going to the session, generally always a good sign, well, thing I've kind of noticed with iRacing, always a good sign that you know it's a bit of a hotter race when you see the sun shining. It's a very sort of vibrant room, and generally when I see it so sunny, it's usually correlates to a pretty hot track, generally. Not all the time, but generally that's something I've sort of noticed with iRacing, the way the sessions go, and that's not wrong here. 36-degree track, so it's not a boiling hot track. But it is on the hotter side, which is just going to make these cars a bit floatier, a bit less grippy, which just might make those transitions from gravel to asphalt a little bit more difficult, Cam.
Yeah, definitely. With that little bit more reduced grip than what we saw in the previous heat, it's going to make it a little bit more difficult for these guys to try and get that grip to, well, get the car to grip up and go through the corner as well as they can. But yeah, I'm sure most of these guys will be able to get around that heat issue and drive the car to the limit and a bit more sideways.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we might see some more sideways action here for the second round of heats, CPR Rallycross. Again, we're along 5 formats, getting a little bit ahead of myself. 5 formats at the moment: Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Periscope, and YouTube. Again, hope you're enjoying the show on whatever format you are watching us on. As we said, saw an awesome bit of racing in that first heat. Got a bit spread out in the middle, but as we mentioned, with the way IRA is, with how short that joker lap is and how much it cuts off the circuit, you're kind of expecting that here a bit more than Daytona, because it is quite a massive advantage you get when you do the joker. So that sort of spacing of the field's probably going to be a bit of a theme of tonight in the middle of the races, but it all kind of comes together in the last few laps once everyone runs their jokers and all the true layout of land is set. So we'll be watching that in this second heat to see how it goes. Forgot to mention as well in the background, as always, doing phenomenal job as always with the show. Jay Candy is the one controlling the cameras for you and directing the show. So, or as always, awesome stuff from Jay. And tell you what, I'm sure we're keen to show you all the angles here of this heat. And already in practice, the field's looking pretty close. Scotty Harris actually looking really speedy, from the same team as well as Dylan Shepherd. So those guys, DPR, looking really strong at the moment in this round of CPR Rallycross. But as I mentioned, that battle for second already looking quite juicy with the pace of the guys in that little battle pack. Scott Lanark, Brody Whitmore and Cam J. Taylor all within 2/10 of each other here in practice. So it's looking like Scotty might have the edge just by practice times. But the battle for second could be really close. Then the battle to not go to last chance qualifier is close as well, because Sattler's done a 38.4, then Brookfield's done a 38.6, and then Clote's done a 38.7. So a few tenths covering those guys, and that again, those last two will go to the last chance qualifier. So this could be a really juicy little sort of multi-pack battle here, Cam. We'll maybe have one either for the win or for the podium, and then one for basically who's the one who's not going to be sent to the last chance qualifier next round.
Yeah, for sure. It's actually not as close as I thought it would be between Larnack and Harris, but
yeah,
that's kind of the way that the cookie has crumbled in this session. But it's going to be very interesting, and we'll probably see the field spread out, as you said just before, and maybe even into those two battle packs with the front guys up the front, and then you've got the guys just behind them who are battling for that transfer spot into the next round of heats and not into the last chance qualifier.
Yeah, for sure, and that'll be probably the key one to watch, because battle for the podium is always nice to be better positioned, because again, it will put you in a better place for later heats as well on the grid and the like. But trying to miss that last chance qualifier is the key in these heats. That's the thing that the drivers really want to look out for, because obviously if they get into that and then they don't have a good last chance qualifier, then they could be out of the night of racing for good, and that is their night over. So that battle is the really important one here, is that battle for who's going to not get 6th and 7th pretty much, which as I mentioned, there's about 3 drivers, all very similarly paced. We'll be watching to see who will get demoted and who will survive and miss having to go through a last chance qualifier at the second round or third round of races here tonight. So the grid is already formed. Everyone very, very quick to get on the grid, and we're getting ready to go here for more CPR Rallycross action, hosted by OSR. Ready to go for the second round of heats, and we are away. Green flag flies here for the second race of the night. The top two of the grid, Scotty Harris, Scott Lanark, both pretty even start, but Harris on the inside gets the advantage through the first corner. Very nice transition onto the thing, onto the gravel as well as Brody Whitmore's around in the background. There's contact with one of the cars behind. I think it might have been Gavin Sadler. He had contact with him. He's around off the jump, and that's a heavily damaged Volkswagen as well. I think the steering does look a bit bent, so that may be one of our main protagonists already into the last chance qualifier. And one lap in, as I've looked back on what happened. Yeah, him and the other Volkswagen Beetle just got together over the jump, and that's Brody down in the back of the field with a heavily damaged Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like he hit the start-finish bridge, more or less, sort of, bridge sort of thing, and that's effectively damaged the car from hitting that tyre bundle. So he's probably not going to be too happy with that, but if he can continue on, he should be able to hopefully recover and possibly even make it into that transfer spot should something happen to the guys up the front or anybody in front of him. Yeah,
indeed. Let's go about for the lead as well. It's all for second, sorry. It's between Cam J. Taylor and Scott Lanark, although Scotty Harris just up the road. He hasn't really galloped away just yet. Here comes Cam up the inside of Lanark into the sweeping left-hand pin. Is anyone going to take their joker? Lanark is. So Lanark takes his joker this time by, and that is his second joker, sorry. So he's already done both of his jokers. So Lanark already has got rid of those tokens, gone out in clear air. We saw for Burton that didn't necessarily equate to running away with the lead. So if he can't really utilise this clean air, then this may not give him the advantage he's hoping for. But it's all going to sort of depend on the pace of the cars behind. We've seen Scotty Harris seems to have the edge in practice anyway, but obviously in the race, it's all a bit of a different ball game when you're having to think about where you are position-wise as well. And he does have Cam J. Taylor really breathing down his neck. This battle for what is second as Scotty Harris now takes his joker as well. And that's also his second one. He has jumped Larnack. There he goes. So Larnack not quite able to use that free air to his advantage. And Harris continues to lead, but not by too much. And I'll tell you what, Larnack, he's giving Harris something to think about in these early stages.
Yeah, definitely. He's really got to think about it now that they've both taken their jokers. So it's going to be all about making sure that they drive consistently and cleanly and don't make any mistakes to cause the guy behind to catch up and take advantage of those mistakes that they've made.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see if Cam J. Taylor not taking his Joker. He's only taken the one, which is on the first lap. So a lot of the field, a lot of the front runners anyway, taking that Joker straight off the bat on the first lap. In fact, I'm looking through now. Matthew Clote's one who didn't. He's now just taken both his Jokers. So we'll see where he ends up in the field. He's going to end up just ahead of Cam Taylor. I believe he will indeed. So in third place for now, but obviously Cam's yet to do his second Joker, so he should jump him when he does that. And be up to third, but it's looking like that might be fourth for Cloet. I'm just checking, actually, Brookfield's yet to do his Joker too, so he might actually be pretty close between Cloet and Brookfield. And that's an interesting one to watch. They're both out of that last two. The one who's in danger right now is Gavin Sadler, as Brady Whitmore has retired it after that first lap collision. So obviously the damage is a bit too heavy for him to be able to bring it round, and so he will be in the last chance qualifier, and he's showing to be very handy in these rallycross cars. So it's a bit of a big blow to his campaign tonight, and he'll be hoping to do well in that last chance qualifier to stay in it. But right now, Gavin Sattler's the one in the hot seat, but it's all pretty interesting to see how this goes, as Cloet now being caught by Cam Taylor, and look at that, Taylor having to really try and get past here, because this is holding him up to, to try and chase down Lanark and Harris.
Yeah, absolutely. So wouldn't be Oz. Clote's just actually made a mistake and wrecked it there.
Yeah, and I think he's going to wait for Brookfield to come round. Good stuff there from Cloet to wait and not trying to gun it to get going and possibly take someone out. I think he's struggling to turn it around by the looks of it. There we go. He's got it going now. It's, as I said, it's always so awkward to get these cars turned around with that four-wheel drive. They just do not want to turn. What that does now mean is Sadler's actually jumped him, and Sadler's yet to do either of his jokes. He's doing one now. So by the looks of it, Cloet's the one who's probably going to be knocked through the last chance qualifier as well. And he's got to watch himself here, because he's got the leaders coming up on him, and they are battling for position. Harris not been able to drop Lanark. Lanark really holding off the back of Harris, as Cloet, very good observation there, gets out of the way nicely, so good stuff there. But yeah, it's not looking like the sort of dominant performance I was expecting from Harris. Lanark really is keeping him on his toes here throughout the heat.
Yeah, definitely. After both of them have taken their Jokers, it's really evened it up, and Lanark seems to have that edge pace-wise over Harris, so we could possibly see Lanark make a move in these dying stages of the race, but it's looking like the gap at the moment is a little bit too big for him to even possibly have a chance at making a dive at the last corner. But Jake Byrne definitely did prove us wrong in that sort of way.
Yeah, for sure. As we said, as we were talking about on the break as well, I think, as I mentioned before we went to the break, that as you can see with the looking at here on the camera, it's such a wide section of track, being the oval section. It's really tempting to chuck it up the inside, especially if the car ahead doesn't really block that inside line. It's really tempting to just dart it up the inside and go for a move. And as I mentioned, I wouldn't be surprised if we see that maybe happen again throughout the night. Last lap as well, as Taylor, I believe, is... And Sadler, yes, that's for P3. So Sadler's actually done his Jokers and come out ahead of Gavin, of Cam Taylor, and actually so is Richard Brookfield as well. Although Taylor's yet to do his second Joker, he takes it now. And they'll put him back into third, but really close between Brookfield and Sadler. But look at this for the lead. Here we go again, Harris and Lanark, round two of that sort of move. But thankfully, Harris this time covers the inside. Lanark doesn't go for it. It's going to be Scotty Harris who just wins from Scott Lanark, only just 0.3 of a second covering the top two. Awesome battle between them throughout the race, and Scott really showing some awesome pace throughout the race there, and showing it to Scotty Harris, who looked like he'd have an edge in this heat, but Lanark really upping his game throughout that race. Results are up on the screen now, and they are as follows. Scotty Harris takes the win in that heat. Not the dominant performance we were expecting, as Lanark pretty much kept him company throughout the entire race, finishing only 0.3 behind, was closing in those last few laps. So really good signs for Lanark tonight that he'll be on to watch as we head towards the finals. Cam J. Taylor, once again, just a solid drive from him in P3. Only 3 seconds off the top two as well, so still not far off, and doing sort of what he did last time at Daytona, just quietly getting on with the job and putting in those solid results and trying to get through to the final. So again, another one to watch for Taylor, being a bit of a dark horse in this round again. Richard Brookfield manages to get P4 just from Gavin Sattler, who ends up in P5, second between those two. And then Matthew Cole with that spin, unfortunately, will be going through the last chance qualifier along with Brody Whitmore, who had a pretty nightmare heat here in the second round of heats, and it'll be interesting to see whether he gets through and continues on his night, because he's got the pace to probably even get to the final if he can keep out of trouble. But you never know what's going to happen in these races, as Brody found out there. It can all go wrong. very, very quickly. But either way, that's the second round of heats here for CPR of Rallycross. Scotty Harris, your winner here, with Scott Lanark and Cam J. Taylor reigning at your podium. We'll go for another short break, and then when we come back, it'll be the third round of heats here for Cup Price Racing Rallycross, hosted by OSR. Hope you're enjoying the show. We'll be back in just a moment.
Hi guys, Scott Speed here, welcoming you to the Volkswagen Beetle GRC car here in iRacing. It is so fun. Wanted to give you guys some pointers around the track here. This is the actual track that we drove in Daytona. It looks unbelievable. When you see the footage from the onboard of the actual track, it's crazy how similar they got it. Give you some tips on the car. First thing you're gonna notice is this thing is a 2-liter turbo engine that has over 600 horsepower, and it is geared for acceleration. So you're gonna go through the gearbox very quickly. That's the first thing you know. As soon as you leave the pits, you're gonna be like, wow. You're just gonna have to upshift gears very rapidly. And then you're gonna get on the brakes for the first time, and you're gonna notice this big momentum shift as the car is gonna lean over, it's gonna have a ton of weight transfer, and that's because we run really soft springs in this thing to get the traction that you're gonna need in the dirt. Once you get through the first corner, you're probably gonna realize that as soon as you touch the throttle, it doesn't really want to turn anymore. You gotta be aware that four-wheel drive likes to stop very quickly, and it likes to go very quickly. It doesn't like the corner so much. To the first corner, you definitely wanna wait until you're kind of straight to get on the gas, and that'll bring you up to the really fun section. And you get to experience dirt in a four-wheel drive rally car for the first time, and it's incredible. The thing you're gonna notice is that the car wants to just continue going whatever direction it started in. So when you approach these corners, you're really gonna have to turn quite before the corner, very early, and the car is gonna develop this momentum to it. It's still very important to hit the apex and to be very tidy and clean, but you're gonna have to do that with the momentum of the car. And then you got this nice jump that is really fun. One thing to keep in mind when you're in the air is if you hit the brakes, the front end will come down. If you hit the gas, the front end will come up a little bit. So you got to control, kind of like an airplane, the pitch of the car in the air so you're kind of flying straight. And as soon as you land here, you're going to want to start heading left. You're going to give it a big input and start it sliding to the left. And you're just going to be constantly trying to slow this thing down to make this corner, because it's very, very slippery and it's a very tight corner. And the preferred line, believe it or not, is still going to be right here at the apex. Once you get out of here, the next couple corners are relatively simple, typical tarmac corners. Not a lot to these stuff. This is all flat out. And yeah, let's see what a full lap looks like.
Welcome back to V8's Online's Cut Price Racing Rallycross Round 2, hosted by OSR here from Iowa Speedway. Getting ready for the third round of heats here as we whittle down the field to sort out our final grid for the feature later on tonight. Hope you've been enjoying the show. This is, of course, our last broadcast of 2017. Been a cracking year of racing. Just kept getting better and better as it's gone on. Won't be too long of a break, though. We'll be back on the 6th next month for Blancpain Endurance Series Round 5 from Spa. That'll be our first one back, so got that to look forward to. Obviously, official V8 Supercars as well, starting our coverage once again of that from Round 5 Montreal. That is on the 15th. We've also got Rallycross again, another Rallycross series starting next year to look forward to. And that will be one we're very, very keen to get on the broadcast to go alongside Cut Price Racing Rallycross. So certainly if you're looking for your Rallycross fix, we've got plenty out here on V8's Online. So be sure to keep, well, if you're already watching us, to keep an eye on us next year for more Rallycross action to go alongside CPR's Rallycross series that we are broadcasting tonight. But thought we'd take the chance now before we go to the next heat to bring in some thank yous. So Jay Candy, I'll let you take away on that. It's last broadcast of the year. We're all just we're ready for Christmas. I think,
there we go.
Hey.
Obviously, from us at VS Online, I want to thank all of our viewers firstly for their continued support. It's been awesome. This year we've reached and been seen by just about 600,000 people this year. So it's been a massive year for us at VS Online. I need to thank all of our broadcast partners. So Cut Price Racing, a massive thank you to Paul and the team from Cut Price Racing. The support from CPR has been amazing, and without their support we may not have even been able to broadcast for the second half of this year. So a big thank you to Paul from Cut Price Racing. If you're looking for go-kart parts and spares, he is the man to go and check out. So yeah, big thanks to him. Also a big thank you to OSR, Oceanic Racing, Race on Oz events, Gavin Sadler for his events as well. All of our partners behind the scenes that set up and organise hosted events for us to broadcast. They put on great shows, which has made it really, really easy for us to put on a good show for you to watch. So a big thank you to everyone who has put on events. Clint Smith as well for his awesome All-Star shootouts as well. They were great fun. So big thank you for that. A big thank you also to all the drivers who have raced in all of our different series throughout the year. We've broadcast all different sorts of things this year. We've broadcast dirt, we're now broadcasting Rallycross, we've broadcast ovals, we broadcast road, we broadcast V8 supercars, open wheelers with Formula Renault. We've broadcast everything this year, and it's been an absolutely fantastic year. Our biggest one so far, but the biggest is yet to come. Some massive things planned. Already 107 broadcasts booked in for next year, and we haven't even hit the end of December yet. So it's going to be a big year. But another big thank you as well to all of the guys that help out in commentary. Thomas, thank you to you. Cam, thanks heaps to you, mate, for jumping in. You always jump in with no notice to help me out whenever someone can't make it. So big thank you to all of our new crew as well. So who've jumped in this year. Big thanks to everyone.
Yeah, thanks very much, Jay. So yeah, big thank you to all the supporters and everyone who's made this year as amazing as it has been. We've seen some spectacular racing throughout the whole year. It's just been getting better and better as it's rolled on. And as Jay mentioned, we've got plenty planned for next year. It's going to be even bigger, and I mean the whole sim racing genre as a whole is looking like it's going to get a very, very banker year really next year. It's all looking like it's coming to a head. It's the popularity is coming up, the numbers are coming in. It's just looking like a really cracker year in 2018 for sim racing as a whole, and we'll be very, very proud to be a part of that and showcasing it to you guys wherever you may be watching us. And yeah, it's going to be an absolute awesome year with everything that's going on. So thank you again, Jay, and yeah, let's bring on the next round of heat ties, eh, Cam? So yeah, once again, we have a pretty cracking lineup, and I tell you what, Cam, I don't know if you've spotted it like I have, you probably have by now, but we've got a couple more V8's Online members to rep here. So Bo Albert is in here, obviously racing for Evolution Racing, his team here in CPR Rallycross, but we're keeping an eye on him to have a good result. Showed some really good pace in Daytona, so no pressure at all, Bo. No pressure at all, Bo. None at all. And we've also got Reese Gardner, Mr. Southpaw Racer himself, who's recording his experiences in this series. So check out his channel, by the way, if you want to see his view of tonight's and his heats. But he's in this one here at the moment. But this is a really chockers field, isn't it, Cam? There is some very quick steerers in this one, and it's looking like it could be a really, really close battle at the top.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very, very, very strong field. This one is. You've got Burton, Harris, Cam J. Taylor, Reese Gardner, Bo Albert, Gavin Sadler. It's well stacked this heat, so it's going to be absolutely awesome. And you can't actually really pick who's actually going to win it because it's that close and so stacked.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's going to be a cracking final that we have on here. Cracking, sorry, not final. I'm getting ahead of myself. Too excited for the final already, but cracking third round of heats that we have on offer here tonight. So as we saw, had some awesome racing at the end of the last heat. Really started to close up towards the end. We thought that it'd be an easy win, but it all closed up right at the very end for Scotty Harris. Wasn't able to run away with it as much as we thought he would. And in this heat, he's got a very close competition again, probably a little bit stronger than the last heat, when Jake Burton really showing some very, very good pace in that Fiesta. So I think it'll be a good little challenge to lead between those two. They're probably going to be the main two favourites for taking that win, but as we have seen before, Bo Albert's been no slouch at Daytona and generally in these cars, really enjoying his rallycross as well, so keep an eye out for him. Obviously, Reese Gardner has also been really enjoying it and again showed good pace at Daytona, and he'll be looking for redemption after not quite making it to the feature last time round. He'll be looking to make it this time, and his pace is looking very solid too, as he's pretty much matched Cam J. Taylor in practice here. And as I said, Cam J. Taylor's sort of the dark horse of round one, and again round two, it's, I don't know, it just seems to be, maybe it's the light blue rims that are making him stand out for me, but same with Daytona, and same here. He always keep an eye on him, because he seems to be one of those guys. He's not quite got the pace of the guys right at the front like Jake Burton and Scotty Harris, but he's got, it's not quite there, but still solid, and he seems to be have a bit of a knack for just keeping quiet, getting through, and then you look at the end of the night and there he is in the final. I feel like, I don't know about you, Cam, but he kind of reminds me a bit of a Michael Healy, because I know Healy does that a lot too, where he sort of just quietly gets on with the job, super fast in pretty much anything he does, but just gets on with it, keeps his nose clean, and he's always there at the end. And I feel like Cam kind of comes from that camp of drivers a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen Cam race in his early days. He wasn't overly quick, but he's definitely come a long way since then, and it's really good to see him actually at the pointy end of the field. So he's, as you said, the dark horse in this race, and he's going to be really interesting to watch and see how well he does in this race with it being such a strong field.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, and again, that battle for staying out of the last chance qualifier will be key. I believe it's only the one driver at the bottom of the field going through the last chance qualifier this time around. So it'll be the battle to not be last, which is always the way in these heats. It's always trying to battle to not be that last car and be knocked down the last chance qualifier and possibly out of the race. There he goes. There you go. So Jay just clarifying there. So the top four go through the final. The last three go through the LCQ to decide our final grid for tonight. I think after the, actually not quite, because we'll have obviously last chance qualifier again after this in the next round, and that fourth round of heats will be the last round of heats, and then we'll have our nearly our final decide. We'll have one last LCQ after round 4 of heats, and then that will decide our final grid, and we'll go to the final after that. So really powering through the races tonight, which is good to see. Obviously the series developing as it goes. The admin, Simon Blackforce and admin, as always, doing an awesome job for OSR, runs the show oh so efficiently and oh so fantastically, doing an awesome job in doing this, and obviously Jay helping as well with running this one, make sure it all runs smoothly, and learning as we go with running this series, especially with obviously the heat format and the way RallyCross works. But really nice to see it's all going along so well tonight, very quick and efficient, which is just fantastic, and just what you guys like to see watching, and also the drivers like to see as well, and they can really power through their heats very quickly indeed. But we've just finished up practice here, ready to go to the race, and as we mentioned, Cam, I mean, so I suppose it's going to be a really cracking heat, and as we said, it's really hard to pick who will be the winner here, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an absolute stacked field, and you can't discount any of these guys. And pretty much all you have to do in this one is realistically finish inside that top 3, and you'll be pretty much safe home to get into that final race. So it's going to be very, very close and very heated, I reckon.
Yeah, for sure. So we're getting ready to go here for the third round of heats here tonight for CPR Rallycross. We got not two. We're already really barreling in on the feature. We've got another couple of one last round of heats and last chance qualifier to come after this, and then we're through the final. So the grid is set, we're ready to go, the revs are rising. Who's it gonna be as they get ready for the green flag, as it now drops? A big hold there on the lights. The drivers having to wait quite a long time before they go, but looks like Scotty Harris is going to have it. All cuts across the front of Cohen Attard very, very closely, but good driving really from Harris there. Cut it fine, was just able to get clear of his competitors as well. Cohen goes really deep into the sweeping left-hander, but holds on to third. Who's going to take the joker? It's going to be Scotty Harris and Cohen Attard at the front, who are taking their joker early on. Burton not taking it this time around. He's going to hang out. And in fact, I think only those two. Oh no, those two, and Reese Gardner as well also takes his joker. So only 3 cars taking, and Taylor. Oh, there you go, and Taylor takes as well. So half the field take the joker, half don't. So I don't know. This is a bit interesting because we haven't really seen this. It's 2 very close packs of cars on separate parts of the track. So this could be quite decisive on whether it was an advantage to take that joker early on. Oh, Attard takes Joker as well again. So he's taken both his Jokers already here in this race. So very quick to take his Jokers and actually starting quite a way up the field. Cohen's another one to watch, showing good pace by looks of it in these heats. So he's another potential final or finalist we may have on as Reese takes his second Joker and Sattler takes as well. So, and Sattler and Reese very close as they go into the final corner. Reese is not quite going to get Gavin Sattler, but he's going to be battling now with Gavin for that position. It's Beetle versus Focus. Reese having a look up the inside, not quite close enough. He's going to have to fall in line for now, as I think. Yep, Jake Burton now takes his Joker. That's his second Joker as well. So, and Cohen's just beaten him. Look at this side by side onto the oval section, but Burton has the run out of the Joker lap. And he's just going to take Cohen. Nearly has a look at what Jake Burton did with Harris earlier on, but Jake's just got it.
Past Sadler as well.
And there you go, yeah, Gardner's past Sattler's on. Oh, Cohen, looking up the inside of Jake there. But yeah, Reese has got by Gavin Sattler, but Sattler looking for some redemption here. Will he? Kenuani will. I don't. Is he taking both his Jokers? He has. So Gavin's taking both his Jokers, and so has Reese. So this is for effective position, as Scotty Harris now takes a Joker as well, and he pops that head. He takes the lead from Jake Burton, so very close at the front of the field. But yeah, Scotty Harris now has the lead of this race. That is his second Joker, so the top 3 have all done their Jokers. In fact, sorry, the top 5 have all done both their Jokers. So that only leaves Richard Brockfield, Bo Albert, and Cam Taylor, the only 3 yet to do their Jokers. In fact, Bo's actually not done any of his Jokers, same with Brockfield, whereas Cam's done 1. So we'll keep an eye on Bo and Richard, because they have not done a single Joker, and they could play into this later on, Cam.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bo's not a slow pedaler either, so it's going to be very interesting to see where he pops out after he takes his 2 Joker laps. And I reckon it's going to be probably somewhere near the podium position.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think he's got the pace to be definitely in the top 4 and challenging for that spot in the final. As we've got a battle for lead now, Scotty Harris and Jake Burton. Scotty Harris having to defend a bit from Jake Burton. Takes a very nice line there, very strategic line, not letting Burton get the optimal run into the corner and not able to really dart it up the inside as he holds on to lead. But Jake Burton really stamping his potential here, his authority on having a chance of being right up there in the finals. These 2 battle for the lead. Cohen Attard's just behind these 2, not quite able to hang off just yet, but he's not really falling back too far. And he might be one to watch as potential finalist there, as Taylor does just jump him, and now he's in the battle. Harris has gone wide.
Gone around the outside.
Yeah, Harris went wide at the last corner. That opened the door for Burton. So Burton now through after that little error from Harris. And now look at Cam Taylor was right there, and look at that Cohen Attard. Oh, he said, yeah. Oh, I was about to say he's closing in, and he spun. Oh, watch you have to beat. Oh, just about avoids contact there. So real shame for Cohen. He was on for a possibly even challenge the top 3, and now he's dropped way back to 6th spot. And that now promotes Reese Gardner up to 4th as well. But look at these top 3, Cam. They are so close right now.
Yeah, absolutely. They're very, very close at the moment, and it's anyone's guess who's going to win this. It's only going to take one small mistake from any of these guys, and it'll be pretty much just about all hopes of winning this race will be all over.
Yeah, for sure. And Scotty Harris went really deep into the last corner there again. Went very, very hot on the brakes. Nearly lost it on the entry, but was able to hold it together as he's really pushing. He wants that win here in this heat. As Albert's dropped to last. Good spotting there from Jay, just in the background. Yeah, his front left's a bit Okay, Brockfield there just might have taken his Joker, and he has last lap, so that might be why Bo's fallen back. He still has not taken either of his Jokers. And remember, while the top three are battling, they're holding each other up as well. So Bo could very much play into this in these last few laps. As remember, I think the top five have all taken, top six have taken both their Jokers. Brookfield's got one still to take, and then Bo's got to take both his Jokers. So it's going to be an interesting last couple laps here, Cam, as the field really shakes itself out.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can't discount Bo Albert with the fact that he's got two Jokers up his sleeve. It's going to be anyone's guess as to where he's going to pop out.
Yeah, for sure. And as I know, Bo's just done one of his Jokers, so Albert's just done one, and he's holding off on that last one till the final lap. And actually, he's not quite as far up as I thought he would be. Although, as we see, he's got one more to go, and by the looks of it, I'd say he might well come out near Reese Gardner. By the looks of it. So he won't quite be near the top three, but he'll still be in with a shout of getting that last spot, or getting into that top four as well. But look, yeah, final lap now is look at Scotty Harris is so close to Jake Burton, nearly pushing him through the gravel there as they go on to the final section of the track. Oh, tries to look up the inside, yeah, but Burton covered him. Is he going to try as they go onto the oval? He is, chucks up the inside. Oh, no, there's contact. Yeah, but look at Burton just holds it. Oh, around the outside, they're side by side. Oh, nearly contact again.
No,
they're going to go. They're going to go.
Oh, bumping and rubbing.
Wow, and they're still going. And Burton, out of all of that, is going to take the win of the heat. What a way to finish that.
Albert's fourth.
Unbelievable. And Albert's fourth as well. Scotty Harris is over the line. But yeah, Albert's going to take P4 from Reese Gardner. Good use of the Jokers from him, as my voice can't handle the excitement right now that we just saw them. What a finish to that race. Wow. Awesome show from all the drivers there throughout that one. As guys at the back just coming through now. Cohen outside will probably be a little bit disheartened after that one. He's ended up coming home at the back of the field after was showing potential to even battle the top three there. But yeah, I tell you what, Cam, that was wow. That was an unbelievable finish to that one. As results are up on the screen now as well, so we'll quickly go through them now before we go to a break and catch our breath after that. Phenomenal heat there from all the drivers involved. So Jake Burton does end up taking the win, not without some contact there on the oval section, but he takes the win from Scotty Harris. Cam J. Taylor once again shadowing them in the top two. He seems to be doing that a lot tonight, just shadowing the guys in the front and just getting those solid results. He gets P3, 1.1 seconds off the lead. Bo Albert using a very Joker laps very strategically there, saved them both to the end, kept him out of trouble, and meant he did get P4 in this race, 5.8 seconds off the lead. Reese Gardner ends up P5, 8.6 seconds off. And that's Gavin Sattler in P6, Richard Brockfield in P7, and Cohen Attard rounds out your field in P8. So yeah, wow, Cam, that was a phenomenal race that one was.
Absolutely, it was full on from start to finish, and you didn't know what was going to happen, and that finish was just absolutely awesome. I cannot wait for the next few races.
Oh yeah, yeah. As we said, the first heat we saw it in the second heat. How close it is at the front, and once again we had a 3-car battle for nearly that entire heat, and it all came down quite literally to the last couple of corners. So unbelievable stuff from all the drivers, and big kudos to all of them in that heat for putting on such a fantastic show. But we'll now take a break, catch our breath and thoughts as we get ready for the 4th round of heats after this. You're watching Cut Price Racing Rallycross here on V8's Online, hosted by OSR. Hope you're enjoying the show. We'll be back in just a moment.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, and many more. iRacing.com, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
Hi guys, Scott Speed here, welcoming you to the Volkswagen Beetle GRC car here in iRacing. It is so fun. Wanted to give you guys some pointers around the track here. This is the actual track that we drove in Daytona. It looks unbelievable. When you see the footage from the onboard of the actual track, it's crazy how similar they got it. Give you some tips on the car. First thing you're gonna notice is this thing is a 2-liter turbo engine that has over 600 horsepower, and it is geared for acceleration. So you're gonna go through the gearbox very quickly. That's the first thing you know. As soon as you leave the pits, you're gonna be like, wow. You're just gonna have to upshift gears very rapidly. And then you're gonna get on the brakes for the first time, and you're gonna notice this big momentum shift as the car is gonna lean over, it's gonna have a ton of weight transfer, and that's because we run really soft springs in this thing to get the traction that you're gonna need in the dirt. Once you get through the first corner, you're probably gonna realize that as soon as you touch the throttle, it doesn't really want to turn anymore. You gotta be aware that 4-wheel drive likes to stop very quickly, and it likes to go very quickly. It doesn't like to corner so much. To the first corner, you definitely wanna wait until you're kind of straight to get on the gas, and that'll bring you up to the really fun section. And you get to experience dirt in a 4-wheel drive rally car for the first time, and it's incredible. The thing you're gonna notice is that the car wants to just continue going in whatever direction it started in. So when you approach these corners, you're really gonna have to turn quite before the corner, very early, and the car is gonna develop this momentum to it. It's still very important to hit the apex and to be very tidy and clean, but you're gonna have to do that with the momentum of the car. And then you got this nice jump that is really fun. One thing to keep in mind when you're in the air is if you hit the brakes, the front end will come down. If you hit the gas, the front end will come up a little bit. So you got to control, kind of like an airplane, the pitch of the car in the air so you're kind of flying straight. And as soon as you land here, you're going to want to start heading left. You're going to give it a big input and start it sliding to the left. And you're just going to be constantly trying to slow this thing down to make this corner, because it's very, very slippery and it's a very tight corner. And the preferred line, believe it or not, is still going to be right here at the apex. Once you get out of here, the next couple corners are relatively simple, typical tarmac corners. Not a lot to these stuff. This is all flat out. And yeah, let's see what a full lap looks like.
Welcome back to V8's Online, one and all, here for CPR RallyCross, hosted by OSR here at Iowa Speedway. We're in here for the last chance qualifiers. This is the last race we have tonight before the feature, the main events later on tonight, and it should be an absolutely cracking final with the drivers we have in here tonight. So all the drivers are just joining in now into this practice session before we have a qualifier here. So we do have qualifying for this last chance qualifier, and the same for the final. So it's going to give the drivers a chance to put in another quick lap and try and get themselves in the ideal position for getting into that top two, because that is all this is about, once again, being the last chance qualifier. The top two finishers here will go through to the final. Everybody else is out for the night, and that is their night over. So the top two will be the aim. Doesn't matter if you finish 3rd or 7th or 6th. Outside of that, it's all the same to the end results for these drivers. The top two will be their goal here. And so we're just looking at the driver lineup before we came back live, and there is a lot of really handy steerers in this last chance qualifier. Just showing the quality of field here as well, Cam. We maybe didn't quite have the same sort of level of drivers in attendance-wise compared to the first round, but the quality is still really, really high here for the series.
Yeah, absolutely. There's heaps of guys still around, and they're fairly quick. I mean, you got like Luca Jackman, Scott Larnack, Michael Healy, Gavin Sadler, Bob King, Reese Gardner, all in this last chance qualifier, and that's a fairly strong field as it is. So what the final is going to be like is even stronger, and that's going to be anyone's guess as to who's going to win that race. So it's been a little bit of letdown, I guess you could say, on numbers for this round, but the talent surely hasn't disappeared, and it's definitely made the racing tonight very, very good.
Oh yeah, for sure. It just shows as well, you don't need those massive numbers to still have an awesome round of racing. As long as the talent's there, and as we've seen, there's heaps of really, really talented drivers here tonight. You know, that's enough to make the racing very, very good indeed. As we've seen in the heats so far, it's some cracking ends to the heats. The last one was an absolutely fantastic end of the heat. Had us on the edge of our seats, and my voice quite literally falling apart with the excitement that was happening in front of our eyes. But we're back in for this one, and it should be an interesting one to watch. I mean, again, as you said, we got a lot of very talented drivers, but you think that probably the ERT pair, really, of Luca Jackman and Scott Larnack will be the two to watch. But Bob King, a very talented driver, especially on the gravel and on the dirt. That is his speciality. He does very well in dirt oval as well. It's kind of his main focus, I think, racing wise, and where his main pace is. And showing he's able to get that the mixing of the two, the mixing of the asphalt and gravel quite well. Showing similar, or pretty much the same pace as Larnack and Jackman in practice here, so we want to watch. Healy, of course, is there as well, and we've seen what he can do in round one. We know how talented he is, so I think he'll be one to watch as a bit of a dark horse character. Usually he tries to keep it pretty clean, tries to stay out of trouble and get those results, so we're watching him as he'll try and get through the final. Cohen Attart is here as well, Richard Brockfield, Ben Twydale for SSR is another driver in this last chance qualifier. Gavin Sadler is here as well, and what I believe is the only Beetle in this field. And Reese Gardner rounds out your participants and drivers in this last chance qualifiers. So yeah, I think that the battle for the top two is going to be so close. We already seen practice here, the top 5 covered by pretty much 0.3 of a second. So it's going to be a juicy one here, I think. And again, that Joker, the use of the Joker is going to be so key. But I think having that qualifier here again, so that obviously everyone can have a chance to get themselves on the grid, is going to be interesting to watch, because you know, this gives drivers that chance to qualify again. First time since the very start of the night when they first qualified for the heats that they get to do it again. And I'm going to be watching to see if anyone has actually sort of improved over the night, if they have found a 10th or 2 over the heats, and whether that can maybe jump them up the field in this last chance qualifier.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be very interesting. So you got to make sure that you keep it clean, don't make any mistakes here, because a mistake is going to be absolutely detrimental to your race and is probably going to make your chances of making it into that final very, very slim.
Yeah, for sure. It is a 10-lap race again, so it's a little bit of time there to, you know, make back mistakes, but it's still not not a massive amount of time to make back. It is just over 30 seconds for a lap. So the races, as always, being Rallycross, always very quick, short, sharp races. So you make a mistake, especially a big one, you're generally done. especially if you get terminal damage. Obviously, you're not going to get time to repair that, so you're effectively out if you get too badly damaged. So it's something the drivers will have to watch. But yeah, qualifying, or the practice here, very interesting. A second covering the whole field here in this practice session, showing how juicy this last chance qualifier is going to be. And we've seen how closely they fight in round 1 and here tonight. And the way Rallycross is, you just never know. If you just keep your nose clean, you don't even have to be up towards the front end of the field. If you just keep your nose clean and stay out of trouble, if people have issues ahead of you, you can suddenly find yourself right up the field just from being clean and consistent. So that's going to be key in this last chance qualifier. And we haven't seen too many issues with this yet, but I think Jay was actually during one of our breaks talking about the joke lap and the way it is, because it goes from gravel onto tarmac and then onto the oval. It can be a bit tricky, can't it, Cam? Because if you don't do it right, it can send you pretty quickly into the fence.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to be very, very careful with the transitions and make sure you don't overcook it too much, as otherwise, as you said, you end up in the fence or either on your lid or in sight of someone else, or all sorts of other shenanigans that could possibly happen and go wrong for you.
Yeah, for sure. So I know what the drivers will be watching out for as we roll into the end of practice here. Got about a minute to go. Then we'll go to qualifying. I'll have 3 laps once again, same or standard as per round 1 when there was qualifying in the races. So 3 laps to set a time, and then we have the 10-lap race again, 2 jokers to utilise. And again, we'll be watching to see how this all plays out, because as is sort of probably the way it is with Iowa, because that joke lap cuts out so much of the lap. It tends to be the case, it's close at the start. People who take their jokers, obviously at different times, so we tend to have a bit of a spread out field, or a bit of a mixed up field, pretty much from probably lap 2 or 3 through to about lap 7 or 8. And those last couple of laps or so, when everyone started or finished their jokers, is when things really start to come together and we start to get that idea of who's where in the field. And we've seen, haven't we, Cam, some people who either take it early and get clean air, or even stay out, or go wait to the end and use that clean air in the early phase of the race, can really gain a lot on their competitors.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw a very interesting example of utilising the joker lap to your advantage in the previous race with Bo Albert, leaving it right till the last few laps and actually managing to end up 4th in that race. So yeah, it's very much a strategy game of when you take your joker as to whether you want to get out of traffic or you want to get ahead of someone to get that advantage of possibly holding them up in some way.
Yeah, for sure. As we now start qualifying for this last chance qualifier, we're going to go on board with Michael Healy for his runs and see how he performs. You can see him taking a really wide line out of the pits there, or out of the start area, to try and maximise his speed over the jump and into turn 1 here. The flowing left-hander, really, really crucial about getting that angle right, getting the slide right as you go through the gravel. And now transition to the asphalt. You can see there on the onboard how quickly it just grips up on you. Going on the asphalt, really easy to clip the tyre bale on the inside into the right-hand hairpin. Nice line. Want to obviously try and fire it for the exit, being four-wheel drive. Stop it just like that. Put the gas on as quick as you can and fire it out of every corner, especially on the tarmac with the way four-wheel drives work, of course. As Healy going out wide or in sort of a middle line there on the oval section. Probably don't need to use all of it, so good stuff there from Healy. Trying to straighten up that little last corner there to get onto the jump as quick as you can, and then over the line there. And I think his first lap he must have had contact because he didn't count, and I think he's actually stopped it there, so he's going to try again. Start from the start area. But we've got some laps coming. Oh, we haven't got some laps in yet. Nobody's actually started to get a clean lap in. And we'll go on board with Twydale now as he comes around and is just entering the oval section. Well, that front end of that Ford is pretty beat up, so I'm guessing he's hit a couple of tyre bales around the lap. So still nobody yet to set a time. As now they do. Reese Gardner's going to be the first to set a time. 38.8 for him on his very first lap. Good stuff there. Good benchmark from Reese. We'll see who's next. We've got Cohen Attard going at 38.1 for him on, I believe, his first lap is indeed. So good stuff from Cohen as the times should start flooding in now in this field. We've got a couple of the faster guys all in the sort of same section of tarmac, so it's all going to become a bit clearer here as you see Scott Lennart coming over. Is he going to set? Is 37.3 from Scott. Really strong pace on that lap, as I think Jackham was behind him and he's just starting his laps now. So pace is coming in. Bob King set a time. Now Gavin Sattler. It's all looking really close already in this one. There's a Healy on board now again, so hopefully he'll get some laps in now. And it's his last, as Joe was just mentioning there in my ears, it's his last lap. I think he stuffed both his laps before, just got some contact which invalidated his laps, got really close to the tyre barrier there as well. So he needs to complete this lap or he's going to be at the back of the field, which just makes it all the more harder to get your way through, because obviously passing Rallycross is absolutely no easy feat, as we've already seen multiple times tonight and in round one. But Healy comes around the last corner. We're going to find out now if he did clip the wall somewhere again as he jumps the jump. Nice line there as he goes over, and he does get a lap in a 7.8 though. Probably not quite the lap he was looking for, although I tell you what, Scott Lanark has come out and he has really set the gauntlet down for the rest of these drives to try and match Cam.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very, very quick time, and I can't see that being beaten by anyone else at this stage. So it's looking like he's got pole for the moment. But as we've seen in the past few races, it doesn't matter whether you're on pole, last, second, third. It doesn't matter where you start. You can still win the race from any sort of position.
For sure, yeah. As we're on board with Jackaman now, and yeah, as you're very right indeed, it's all about, you know, if you can stay out of trouble, and as you said, using those joker laps to the optimum advantage to get that clean air and really pump in the laps while you're not stuck behind someone or having to defend from a car behind. That's going to be the crucial thing in this last chance qualifier, as Jackaman coming through the last corner will look like a bit of a wide line there at the last corner. Is it going to compromise his lap? Nope, not too much. He's at a 37.4, but still can't quite pip his teammate Lanark, who does beat him in the end with a 37.3. Awesome lap from Lanark. And I think that might be everyone. I think Brockfield, nope, looks like he's done, and that the grid is sorted. So there we go, that is it. So we'll quickly go through the grid now before we go to the race it starts. It's going to be Scott Lanark on pole with the 37.388. Awesome time from Scott. He'll be super happy with that one. Luke Jackman in second with a 37.497, so an ERT 1-2 here. Bob King in third with the 37.7, and then Ben Twyrdale sort of closely behind with the 37.8, with Michael Healy just behind him also on a 37.8. Cohen Attard is next in sixth place with a 38.1, with Reese Gardner nearly matching him there in seventh. And last two positions on the field, the 9-car field here for this last chance qualifier. It's Gavin Sattler with 38.3, and then Richard Brockfield rounds out your last chance qualifiers here with a 39.5. So this should be a really juicy race here, Cam. That battle, especially that battle for the last spot on in the final, could be really interesting to see if Bob King, you know, Twyrdale, Healy, pretty much everyone else in the field can maybe just get that bit of pace to challenge the likes of Jackaman and Lanark.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be very, very interesting to see who actually comes away with this, whether it be a ERT domination or whether it be someone else who actually manages to win the race. So it's going to be very interesting with this lineup.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll be watching to see what happens. As we said in Rallycross, we've seen drivers show really strong pace in either practice or the qualifying, and then not quite be able to show that sort of dominance in the race. As you know, it's all about, as we've been mentioning, the consistency is such a key part of Rallycross. It's great if you can do a lap for one quick lap, but if you can't do it for consistent laps in a row, then you're not going to get terribly far here in Rallycross. But we're ready to go for the last chance qualifier, the last one of the night before the feature. Who's it going to be? Who's going to get through? Green flag flies, and we're away here for this race here tonight before the final, and the ERT crew at the front get a good start, but Bob King is right there up the inside of Luca Jackaman. I think he might have got him too up the inside. He'll be on the outside for that. Oh, there's a contact behind.
On Healy's on the fence.
Oh, Healy in the fence. There we go. Wow, behind. Big contact there. I think it was Healy and I believe Twyrdale. Yeah, Twyrdale also caught up in that. So big moments for them as, Reese Gardner taking the Joker and giving the wall a big old whack on the way through. He's got Ben Twyrdale for company. Top four all stay out. But look at that, Bob King really hungry right now on line out, because gets a bit of a tap from Jackaman as he handbrakes that into the hairpin. And this battle for second could be interesting, because if they get caught up battling too much, the guys who took their Jokers might come through. Cohen Attard is there as well. It looks like Gavin Sattler leading I think he actually hasn't taken his Joker, has he? Or he may have. As Reese Gardner takes his second Joker too. So there we go. I think both Gavin and Reese, both taken their two Jokers right off the bat, and they're going to try and use that clean air to get ahead of the rest as they fight behind. As it looks, Bob King's just taken his Joker as well, so he's now Larnack for now. Jackaman followed King through. Look at Jackaman really close to King, and I think the guys ahead who've taken both the Jokers, I want these two to fight so they can have a chance of challenging the top two.
Yeah, absolutely. That was very, very close for Bob King. Almost having a bit of contact with Jackaman there. That was very, very close, but King's gone through the Joker and he's managed to come out in the lead at the moment. So this is going to be very, very interesting to see what actually happens here.
For sure, yeah. And I mean, Sadler and Reese Gardner are not that far behind, so they've kind of closed in off the start, using that clean air. But Jackerman's still yet to do his Joker. I think has done one Joker. Twydale's done one. Brockfield's done one as well. And then Larnack and Attard are yet to do any of their Jokers. So they're gonna probably might even try and do what Bialba did in the last heat, save them till the very end and just use that clean air to basically leapfrog their competitors in the Joker. So Bob King leading for now. Having done both his Jokers. Kevin Sattler just behind, representing or repping the Beetle here in this last chance qualifier, as Twydale takes his second Joker, I believe it is indeed. So he now jumps up to P4 behind Reese Gardner. Good little battle that could be there. Luca Jackerman, though, he's still got a Joker to take, and you'd say he'll probably jump up towards Bob King. You would think they're obviously battling for the Joker. So it's going to be really, really fascinating to watch this, Cam, see how this field shakes out with all the Jokers.
Yeah, for sure. It's very, very close as far as the field is currently spread out theoretically, so it's anyone's guess as to who's going to pop out weird. Obviously, a couple of guys yet to do all their Jokers, if any, so we're in for one heck of a finish at this rate.
Yeah, for sure. And I think probably the closest battle really is Reese Gardner and Ben Twydale for what is currently P3. It won't be that when the Jokers are done. We've got at least, I think, Jackerman probably, and possibly, and probably Larnack as well, or Larnack. I keep saying that wrong. Sorry, Scott. But they'll probably jump him as well. So I think Reese and Ben might need to just up the game a bit if they want to have a chance of getting through the final, though. Gavin Sattler really doing some great pace in that Beetle, just keeping him clear and holding him at arm's length over the last few laps as well. Twydale really getting some drifting on through the hairpin there. Got a very bent in back end as well, obviously from, I think, probably the contact earlier on with Michael Healy. But looks like Luke Jackerman is closing in. He hasn't done his second Joker, though, so I think that was someone else just has. Who was that? Yeah, Larnack, there we go. Yeah, and he has actually jumped back ahead of Jackerman. There you go. So that's effective for position, those two. And that could be interesting, couldn't it? Because they are teammates, but they might be fighting over the last chance into the feature, and I doubt Team Wars will come into play too much in that scenario.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to take into account that team aspect of make sure you don't take out your teammate, but at the end of the day, it's also for that final transfer spot to the finals, so you've kind of got to get your elbows out a little bit and really fight for it and not just hand it to your teammates sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure. And I think actually Cohen Attard also followed Jackerman, Larnack through as he's in P7. Richard Brockfield currently rounds out your field. He's got another Joker to go. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty close field here as it all kind of comes together in the last few laps. Bob King leading. He's been doing some really nice pace as well, just doing consistent low to mid 38s, looking really comfortable in the lead. Gavin Sattler, Reese Gardner and Ben Twydale not quite able to match him behind oars. Reese went really deep there off the gravel, the transition. That's let Ben Twydale have a little bit of a sniff at this third place. They've also got the RT guys right behind him. They're yet to the Joker though. I wonder if they might look at doing a next lap so they can clear the battling Reese and Ben.
Yeah, maybe, possibly they will think about that. But now, Brookfield.
Wow, Brookfield, yeah, look at that. Right up, comes out right behind Twydale, and he's suddenly ahead of the ERT guys. And this is big for them. This is really helping out Bob King and Gavin Sattler as they're in clear ahead. And look at this 5-car battle. Reese Gardner at the head. And Adar's dropped to second with his Joker right behind Bob King. So,
now,
unbelievable.
Cars go through the Joker.
Here we go. Yeah, so this is going to be crucial. Where are they going to come out? I think they'll come out ahead, yeah. Wow, yeah, Larnack and Jackerman lead now, both jumping Bob King and Cohen Attard. So there you go, despite the traffic on that lap, ERT guys still 1-2 here as they come on to the final lap.
Yeah, but now the final question is, with it being the last lap, are they going to treat each other with respect, or are they actually going to get the elbows out? Because it's going to be all about where they start at the stage for the final.
For sure, yeah, so all Jackerman really late on the brakes there. I think it is on. I think their gloves are off right now between these two. This is going to be interesting to see. We obviously, you take the win, it's a win. No matter whether it's a heat or a last chance qualifier or a final, it's still a win. You still want those wins because obviously being a race driver, that's what you're here for. But it looks like Jackerman's just going to hold station. It's going to be Scott Larnack who's going to take the win here in this last chance qualifier and transfer through to the final of this second round of CPR RallyCross action. Luca Jackerman is going to come home in second there. Good result from the RT guys. A bit of a dominant performance in the end. Bob King took his Joker laps early, put his cards on the table to try and get through, but wasn't quite able to do it. And he's going to end up being knocked out there in third spot here in this last chance qualifier. Cohen Attard is in P4. And it was Gavin's Sattler in P5. Reese Gardner in P6 with close company from Ben Twydale and Richard Brookfield. Michael Healy, though, retiring early on after that lap 1 contact, as we've got the full results on the screen now of the guys that just went through there, so you can see them for yourself. And you can see at the bottom there, Michael Healy retiring, I believe, on the first lap after that first lap contact off the start. And so he is knocked out. And we know he had the pace to be up there, so it's a bit of a disappointing end for Healy. He'll probably be ruining that a little bit, that he probably had a good chance of possibly making the final if he'd got the nose clean and not been involved in that first lap incident. But obviously being Rallycross, that's always a risk of that. But either way, still made it through the last chance qualifier, so a good solid night of racing from him. But there you go, that was a very, very interesting little last chance qualifier there, Cam, and I think that really sets the scene for the final to be an absolutely bonkers, crazy bonkers final race of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. The field's going to be absolutely stacked, and it's going to be one heck of a show. I cannot wait, and I don't think anyone else can, because it's going to be that great of a race.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's as we've said, we've already seen some fantastic racing once again tonight, as is the case with this kind of racing. Also, same with dirt oval racing, with the way the heats work and whittling down the field and keeping the fastest drives. It just gets better and better as the night goes on, and then it all obviously comes to a crescendo in the final, as that was, and as Jay's mentioning now, one of the chats here just saying it was a very, very good race. I'd have to agree, it was a great race indeed. I really enjoyed that. Probably the top one of the night so far. Not surprising with the way the format goes. It tends to just keep getting better with each race, but it was really close throughout the whole race. We had some great battling throughout the entire field. Even with the different Joker strategies, there always seemed to be a battle throughout that race. And as we're mentioning, with how super duper close and how stacked the final is going to be, I would imagine we're going to have a similar scenario to the last race, but even closer, and probably have a bit more desperation in there, because it will be for that win for the night and for the effective podium as well for the night. So it'll be all cards will be on the table. It'll be nothing, no hold bars racing, and I really can't wait. I'm sure none of us here and the rest of you guys watching can too. So we'll take a final break of the night, and coming up right after this, we've got the final race of round 2 of Cut Price Racing's Rallycross, hosted by OSR. Hope you guys have been enjoying this show. We'll be back in a moment to bring it all to an end.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, and many more. iRacing.com, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
Welcome back to V8's Online. It's Cup Price Racing RallyCross time here tonight. And we are here for the final, and we were just looking at the list, Cam, and I mean, I don't even know, we can't really say it, we just can't say how close this could be, because quite literally, we are absolutely not joking here, quite literally anybody here could win this. Like, I just can't even fathom, or even have a vague stab in the dark who could win, because everyone is that close in this final, Cam.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got Larnack, Taylor, Neck, Shepherd, Jacobin, Ackland, Burton, Albert, Jones, and Harris. That's one super stacked field, and no one can be discounted at all for possibly winning this race. So it's going to be an absolute cracker, and I cannot wait to see what actually happens.
Yeah, for sure. It is going to be the definition of crazy bonkers, I think, this final. It really will be an absolutely stacked final. Absolutely anyone here could win this one. They've all got absolutely super pace. They've proven it in round one and here tonight, how quick they can all be. And yeah, I just genuinely just don't know who could possibly win this one. I mean, probably one of the main ones to watch, or I'd say the main four I'd be looking at. Although the thing is with this as well, there's a few here, a couple of people in this final, namely Emily Jones and Blake Neck, who we haven't actually seen on track yet, because they haven't been in one of our broadcast heats or races that we've had yet tonight. So we haven't really seen their pace for ourselves, so we're not sure exactly where they're going to place. But when Emily Jones is already showing how speedy she is in these cars, and Blake Neck's generally always quick in just about anything he races, so you're definitely going to be seeing him up there too. I think actually Blake is the only only Beetle here tonight in the final as well. But good to see the Beetle getting some repping again in the final with Blake. So yeah, we're just going through practice now. Got around another 5 minutes of this left, and then we will head through to qualifying once again. They'll get a chance to put themselves in the prime spot for the race itself. Obviously being the final, slightly longer race than the heats. It's a 15-lap race, 2 jokers once again. So same amount of jokers to use, but over a longer distance. So it's probably going to be a bit of an interesting one, again, as we've seen throughout the whole night, Cam, where the field will be very, very mixed up throughout basically the whole race, and we won't really know what's going on until that last kind of 3 or 4 laps of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. That Joker has been an interesting talking point all night long, with it being so much shorter than the actual full lap. So gonna be very interesting to see who does what in terms of when they decide to play their Joker cards and take the Joker lap.
For sure. So in practice at the moment, Scotty Harris, and yeah, full field is under a second. I was about to say full field 9/10 between the entire field, and then you look at the top 7. Yeah, half a second between the top 8, and then about 4/10 between the top 7. It's just super duper close between the whole field right now. The battle for and then they just keep improving as well as they go through practices. Larnack just improves his time and puts himself up there. I mean, we've seen how quick every one of these drivers can be, but it's going to be fascinating. I'm not really sure who to pick, but I mean, Scotty Harris is looking like he's got that edge pace-wise. He has the feistiness, I think, to have the pace. Probably is one of the strongest in terms of just pure pace here, but his aggression, or as we've seen in Rallycross, aggression can sometimes be your undoing, and we'll see whether that's the case here in this final. But when you can't leave anything on the table, being the final race of the night, as they just keep improving, and now it's 2/10 pretty much between the top 5 in this field. So yeah, it's just too close to call right now. But I'm sure they'll put on a great show here to round off tonight's racing. I believe we actually got, well, at least 2 drivers here that I know of that are streaming this at the moment. I think Bo Albert's streaming at his end, so it'll be interesting to see his POV if you want to have a look at that. And then obviously Emily Jones, I'm sure, streaming as she usually does when she races. And that, again, that would be a fascinating on board throughout this final to see from their eye what they're seeing throughout the race. We've got a few minutes to go in practice, then we head to quali. And yeah, I don't know, it's just too much really to really know what's going to happen here in this final. It'll be fascinating to watch the first corner as well, Cam, because obviously as we've seen it, and being Rallycross, have an incident in that first lap, it can really set the tone for the rest of the race, especially when the field is as close as it is in this final. And with 10 cars on track, obviously the most we've seen for the night, there's a lot of cars going for not a lot of track in those opening laps.
Yeah, absolutely. And that first turn off the start is pretty much a 90-degree right-hander, so having guys going 3 to 4 wide through there is a little bit of a recipe for disaster in some cases.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a very, very interesting one to watch. And just going to quickly throw to Mr. Simon Black, obviously running the series here for OSR. Hello, Simon. Just wanted to pop on, I believe, to have a little word, Simon, before we go to qualifying. So take it away.
Oh, hello guys. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, I just wanted to stick my head in and say a special thanks to you guys, to Cam, to Thomas, and to Jay for all your hard work in doing the commentary, and a big thanks to Cup Price Racing and everyone that came along for a skid. I hope they had a lot of fun, and yeah, we'll do some more in the new year.
Awesome stuff. Thank you very much, Simon. And I mean, well, I guess while you're here, we'll quickly ask before we go to qualifying. I mean, is there anyone you're also looking out for? Because we've been sitting here looking at how close the field is, and I feel like pretty much everyone in this race has a chance of winning it. So, any sort of picks for you as well?
It's a pretty close field. I think Scotty's been having a pretty good run up there at the front there. So, well, both the Scots have been doing well. So it should be pretty interesting. I think, as I said, a very close field. So, yep, how they play the jokers here will make a big difference to how it turns out.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a big theme of the night is how those jokers are used. Really sort of puts or carves out your place in the field if you can use that clean air well, and that's going to be real fascinating to watch who uses it well here in this final. But we're about to go to qualifying, and should be a cracking final. But thanks again for coming in, Simon, and awesome stuff as always with running this league, and obviously V8 Scops and all the various leagues you run, Simon. Obviously your work and all your work and all the admins in OSR, it's tireless and thankless work, but obviously I'm sure everyone here can echo my sentiment here, and big thank you to you and all your work throughout the year.
Oh, yeah, a special thank you to you and Cam for coming in and doing the commentary, and a big thank you to Jay for helping me work out how to actually run the series. So, yeah, big cheers to him too.
Yeah,
all right, thanks guys, enjoy.
Yeah, thank you, Simon. Thanks for popping in. So that was Simon Black just popping in to have a couple of words there before we go to qualifying. It's just starting now for the final, and yeah, well, obviously I think as we're on board with Burton, as I think he's actually the first one out on track. But yeah, this is as same with round one, Cam, as well. It's been a cracking night of racing once again. And it's all coming to a crescendo here in this final as the cars get ready to go on their qualifying laps.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be a little bit important, but not overly important as to where these guys start. They'll want to be in a position, obviously, where they don't have to deal with getting involved, well, having to avoid any carnage, but at the same time you want to try and be that man on pole position and stick your hand up and go, I'm at the front of the field. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how he comes away with pole position for this race.
Sure, and actually I just noticed Akers there at the end of practice while we were catching up with Simon there at the end of practice. The 36.9 he popped in right at the end of practice, so suddenly just found a bit of pace there as he was trying to obviously do the practice laps and get to grips with the car. As we've said before in round one, and as I believe SSR also in their team updates I've seen on Facebook kind of mentioning about Ackland there, he really is showing his form in this Rallycross format. Generally pretty quick in most cars he drives, but seems to be taking a particular liking to these Rallycross cars. Wow, really flying over the jump there, full commitment as he went over the jump and over the line. So 37.1 for his first lap, and is going to call it there, or call it there for that run and go back in and go out again. So I think his run was a bit compromised into turn one from the commitment there on that lap. And it looks like it's something a lot of drivers are doing one lap, because the jump is so close to the finish line. If you do take it wrong, it can sort of wreck your run for the next race. I think everyone pushing so hard, that's what's happening, as Larnack now puts in a time of 37.117, just off Jake Burton, who currently holds down pole position with the 37 flat. 0.4 of a second between the entire field right now. It is so close.
Emily Jones with a 36.7.
Oh, wow. Emily Jones puts down the gauntlet. Awesome time. 36.7. Wow, I think it's the first time we've seen, aside from Ackers there in practice, the first time we've seen someone in the 36s, and that really puts the gauntlet down. As I see Jake Burton coming around now to complete, I think, his final run of qualifying. He doesn't improve, so at the moment, Emily Jones is in the box seat to be on pole position, as a couple of the other drivers setting their final runs. People are improving, but nobody has got anything for Emily Jones. There's even Jackerman only at 37.1, and it's looking pretty rosy for Emily Jones right now to possibly be on pole. 3/10 as we're looking at Larnack as well. I think he's just about finishing or doing his last run. Yep, last lap now for Larnack. We've seen how pacey he is around here in these cars, so you can see if he can find that little bit of extra time challenge for the pole, but that is a monster lap now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very, very quick lap time from Emily, and I don't think anybody actually expected that to happen. That's actually unbelievable. So she's done very well to actually pull a gap like that and set it that sort of a lap time. So that's... Ooh. Oh, and Larnack's actually got well and truly got that wrong, and so he will not go quicker. The only person who hasn't actually set a lap yet is Dylan Shepherd. So he's currently on his first flying lap, so this will be interesting to see what happens. Yeah,
leaving it till the last moment of the session, putting his times. I think this is, actually I think this is his second lap, so I think it'll be his last one will be next time round. So I'm guessing he's hit the wall on his first lap and had to redo. So let's see what he can do. He's been one who's shown he can be pacey. We've seen him earlier in the heats, very, very quick in these cars, but I mean, very, very quick is, a 37.6 from Blake Neck, and that's the second off pole right now. So, it kind of shows the level of competition in this final. But Dylan coming through the final corner over the jump, what's he going to set for a time of 37.2 from Dylan Shepherd? Good time, puts in P7 though. He's got one more run to try and improve. He's got to find half a second though to get pole. And around these short tracks that obviously are in the Rallycross format, it is not an easy task to find, you know, a tenth or two, let alone half a second on this final run as he comes onto the oval section now, looking pretty straight so far on this run. If it's quick or not, well, we don't really know. It's always so hard to tell if it is an improvement, but the line's looking clean, a little bit wide maybe in that last corner, but shoots it out of there pretty well, gets the nose pointed quite quickly. Is it going to be an improvement? No, it is not. 37.4. And so there you go. That sets our grid for the final. I'll quickly go through it because we're probably going to be ending the race very soon. Emily Jones on pole with 36.7. Fantastic lap from Emily, and monster lap really from her in this qualifying session. Jake Burton with a 37 flat is going to be second. There's going to be Luca Jackerman, Scott Larnack, Scotty Harris, Daniel Ackland, Dylan Shepherd, Cam J. Taylor, Bo Albert, and Blake Neck round out your field for this final. I'll tell you what, this is, I mean, we already said it, didn't we, Cam? But it's just going to be an absolutely bonkers one, this is.
Yeah, it definitely is. The field is that close that no one can really say who's actually going to win this. So heading into turn one, that 90-degree right-hander, don't really want to know who's going to come out of it in one piece and who's going to end up in the fence. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if we see one or two in the fence around there. It is a really tight run at the start of the races here with the way it all works here at Iowa, and with 10 cars, a full field on the grid. There's really barely any room to spare, so if there's going to be some shenanigans, I feel like it may happen here. And will we see a multi-car pile up? You never know. The commitment's going to be there. They're all going to be giving absolutely everything in this final. It's the last race of the night, final for round 2 of Cup Price Racing's Rallycross series, again hosted by OSR here at Iowa Speedway, and it's going to be a cracker. We're just waiting, I believe, on 1 or 2 drivers to grid up, and then once they're there, we will be good to go for this final race. As I just don't know who to pick, but the lights are just about to go on. We're about to be going here. Who's going to win the second round for this series here at Iowa Speedway? We're ready to go. And it is green flag here for the last race of the evening. 15 laps of Iowa Speedway, and Emily Jones has got a cracking start at the front of the field, and she's going to take the lead into the first corner quite nicely as well. Awesome jump as someone, I think it's Dylan Shepherd, missing the jump entirely on the right-hand side, as Scotty Harris missing the jump on the right-hand side, going wide as well as Dylan Shepherd further back, but they're nearly 3 wide, 2 wide into the chicane, and it looks like it's going to be Ackland who takes second. Burton takes the Joker as well, so he's going to take the early green pit of running. Jackerman and Shepherd also take it. So there's 3 of them now have taken the Joker. They're not in clear air entirely, though. They're all pretty nose to tail. But Emily Jones still leading the field behind there. It's going to be Daniel Ackland, Scott Larnack, Cam J. Taylor in there or thereabouts. As always, Bo Albert nearly having a look at him into the final corner there as they go back onto the jump. And then Scotty Harris and Blake Neck currently rounds out your field here at the moment. And it's all so close between the whole field.
Yeah, absolutely. They're pretty much bumper to bumper and almost attached to each other in some places. So it's so close, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, it's very tempting for a lot of these guys as Larnack's trying to make a move.
Oh, a little bit of a bump as well. Yeah, Larnack just did his Joker. That's why he's now jumped out right behind Dylan Shepherd. So right now it is Jake Burton leading. But again, we don't know where the rest of the field is going to end up until the Jokers have sorted themselves. And Burton is going to take his second Joker already. So Jake taking the early Jokers, getting himself out of the traffic and into clean air. And we have seen that can be a really, really handy thing, but can also, if you don't use that clean air, it can actually end up being a bit of a hindrance if you don't use it to its full effect. But you think in this scenario, Cam, if it's going to work in any of the races, it would be this one because of how close the field is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I said earlier, they're bumper to bumper in some places, so being in clean air is probably the ideal situation you want to be in. So Jake's probably used that quite well in a strategy sense. So whether that's actually going to pay off or not is going to be very interesting, as now Scott Larnack goes through his Joker and has come out behind Burton now.
There you go. So Burton continues to lead in this race. Larnack, I think he just slightly closed maybe, but not quite done enough to jump him. As Emily Jones just does her first Joker, jumps Luca Jackerman now, so that's her up to third with another Joker still to go. Remember, the top 2 have done both their Jokers. They've put them on the table already. So they can't use that to their advantage, whereas everyone behind, I'm fairly sure, can still use the jokers. They've still not done that second joker lap. I'll see if anyone here does. No, none of the three behind have used their second joker. Scotty Harris has done one joker, doesn't use his second either. They've got this little bit of a trio behind, or quadruple actually. It's from 7th down to 10th, having a lovely battle towards the back end of the field. Bo Albert and Blake Neck, two of those drivers having a nice battle there over 9th spot. And I think there's another good battle further up, yeah, between Jones, Jackerman, and Shepherd are all having a nice little battle over what is now P3, 4, 5, 6, but obviously a little change as this goes on. But let's see if anyone else takes their joker this time by. Anyone going to do it? We're 6 laps into this 15-lap race, and it looks like a lot of the field's still waiting. I think they're going to wait till later on and just sort of save that joke till the very end. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see where that sort of plays them out. But the two at the front, Burton leading at the moment from Larnack, and they're pretty much even pace once again, which we've seen is a pretty constant theme throughout the Renault Racing Camp.
Yeah, definitely. As Jackman is apparently the fastest track car on track at the moment, so going to be very interesting to see what he can actually do come the later stages in this race.
Yeah, for sure. He's at 37.1, 37 flat that lap. Went even quicker on the second lap there. And he's behind Emily Jones, who's not quite lapping in the same speed. Was actually a good chunk slower than Luca Jackman last time round. And actually Dylan Shepherd was a bit quicker behind as well. Bo Albert, by the way, has taken his first joker of the race. Jumps him up to 6th with one joker still in hand. We'll see where he ends up towards the end of the race. Burton's still leading. Larnack was a little bit quicker last time by, but I think they're pretty much trading lap times at the moment. And yeah, last lap by, they were pretty much identical times, so they're just trading blows at the front. But I think the battle to watch now is this one for P3. This is effective, as both these drivers have done, I think, the one joker each. This is an effective fight for position. Whether it'll be for the lead or for a podium, we'll soon see when they do their joker laps. And I think actually Jackman, taking his second one now, so this is going to be his final sort of area. Where's it going to be? He's going to beat Burton out. There you go, wow. There you go, great stuff from Jackman. Beats out Jake Burton. And that's him now into the effective lead, with Jake Burton in second and Larnack in third. And that's going to be really fascinating now to watch, as that's going to mean the likes of Emily Jones and even Dylan Shepherd are going to be right in that fight at the top of the field.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be fairly close, I reckon, and that battle's going to turn into a multi-car train, and all sorts is going to unfold very, very shortly, I reckon.
For sure, as just seeing Emily, just a couple of blinks there as well. She's had a couple of moments of blinking throughout this race, so I hope that doesn't play into it too much and maybe settles down towards the end. But still pretty close towards the further down the order as well. Ackland and Bo Albert having a nice little scrap over P6. Both of them also only done the one joker lap. Scotty Harris down in 8th at the moment. He's also done one. I think every car bar the last two have done a joker. Blake Neck and Cam J. Taylor are holding off till probably pretty much the very end of the race to do their jokers. They've both got two still in hand. So watch how that goes as Emily Jones continues on. Not going to do that joker yet. Same with Dylan Shepherd. We'll see whether Ackland and Bo Albert use their jokers. They probably don't want to yet, because if they did, they'd probably come out around about where Emily Jones and Shepherd are, which would put them in more traffic. But at the moment, Luca Jackman looking strong in the lead. But as I've mentioned already, they're all trading times at the top of the fields. They're on board with Larnack now as he tries to chase down Jake Burton. There's all Burton hitting the tyre barrier on the inside as well. I think consistently, I think Larnack's been just that little bit quicker than Jake Burton. But obviously, just being a little bit quicker, especially in Rallycross, is one thing. But getting past is another story entirely, Cam.
Yeah, definitely it has.
Yeah, for sure, as we continue on our merry way of this final, lap 11 now. So we've got about 3 or 4 laps to go in this final race of round 2 of CPR Rallycross. And it's very, very close at the front still. The top 3 covered by around about 2 seconds, really close to the front of the field. Bo Albert still yet to do a second joker. Oh, I just did. There you go. Yes, there you go. So he's come out right in front of Emily, has Bo Albert. That's his second joker, so he's effectively going to be there. And he's actually not that far behind the top 3. I thought he'd a little bit further back, but he's a bit closer than I thought. So credit to Bo Albert.
Now Emily Jones goes for a second.
Yeah, can use that clean air well as Emily Jones takes her joker. Where's she going to be? Wow, and she has jumped the lead. Yeah, leading. Awesome stuff. Emily Jones takes the lead of this race, and by a nice healthy margin over Jackman too. Got a good second, a second and a half in the lead of this race. Awesome stuff. And also Cam J. Taylor comes out right with Bo Albert as he takes his first joker of the race. That's only his first. Oh, Bo Albert. There's a bit of a nudge there through the final corner. I don't think he was quite expecting Cam to break when he did. But that's going to be fascinating because Cam's still got a joker left, and he's actually not that far off the top 4, so I think he might give him the shout of a podium if he can just keep it clean as Burton and Larnack continue to fight. This is for the podium, but if they keep battling, that's going to give Cam J. Taylor a sniff at 3rd.
Yeah, well, and it'll be very, very close, actually. I think he might even possibly be able to challenge for the lead, actually, with the gap.
Yeah, Ackland's come out right alongside, actually, Cam again. And he's done both of his... No, he's got one left. No, he's just done his second one.
No,
Cam! Oh, no! Oh, big moment. Yeah, Albert and Cam J. Taylor come together. Let's have a look what happened. Oh, wow, Cam just I don't think he was expecting the line that... Bo Albert just not quite expecting the line that Cam did. And in the end, their 2 lines collided as Bo went in really hot into the corner there. You can see, I think he got it a bit loose. He got loose under braking. And got a slide on and just couldn't save it, especially on tarmac. Once you get a slide going under braking these things on the tarmac, it's really hard to gather it up. And I think that was what happened to Bo Albert there. That's a real shame for Cam as he was on for probably a possible podium. This races were back live now after seeing a Cup Price Racing replay that one. The battle is, speaking of podiums, yes, it is the final lap now. Good battle for the podium. But I'll tell you what, it is looking like Emily Jones is going to take this second round. She's just got to keep it on the straight and narrow, keep it together in this final lap, and it'll be a win in the second round of Cup Price Racing Rallycross. Awesome race from her, really using the joker laps to optimum effect. And it's looking like Giacomo just does not have the pace. He doesn't have anything in reserve to challenge Emily Jones, and she is going to take the win here at round 2 of Cup Price Racing Rallycross. Awesome race from Emily Jones, super drive.
Oh, Larnack's trying to have a go.
Oh, not quite. Yeah, that battle for 3rd, super close. Burton was being harassed by Larnack that whole race. And yeah, as you say, Larnack nearly got him, gave him a touch for the jump, but Burton just holds on. That was an awesome battle between those two throughout the race. So it's going to be Burton who'll come home 3rd, just beats out Scott Larnack for that podium position. There's Dylan Shepherd in behind them as well for P5. It's going to be Daniel Ackland who comes home in P6. As Emily Jones trying to do some donuts as well in the 4-wheel drive. But obviously, as we were mentioning with these 4-wheel drives, not particularly easy to do donuts in them because of being that 4 wheels of power. Does not work very well for donuts. But again, either way, awesome drive from her. But Daniel Ackland, P6 to round out the grid, or round out the field. It's going to be Blake Neck in P7. And Bo Albert, P8, probably a little bit disappointed there after the incident with Cam J. Taylor. Put them both out of contention of a possible top 5 for probably for both of them if things had shaken out well. And Scotty Harris ends up P9, not quite able to bring the pace he was showing in the heats to the 4 in this final. But wow, that was about as close as I think we were expecting, Cam. That was an awesome way to finish off tonight's racing.
Yeah, absolutely. It was an awesome race, and in the end, Emily eventually managed to get the win, so well done to her. An awesome drive from her. So it's been an absolute awesome race. So results are now on screen.
There you go, yeah, results on the screen. We'll go through again real quick if you're just joining to finish off or want to get a final confirmation of the results. Emily Jones winning the final race here tonight, round 2 Cup Price Racing Rallycross, with Luca Giacomin 8/10 behind. Super close there at the front. Then we had that awesome battle for 3rd. Went on for most of the race. Burton was holding back Larnack. Larnack just kept creeping closer and closer, but just ran out of time to challenge there for that podium. That was Dylan Shepherd in P5, Daniel Ackland in P6 with Blake Neck in 7th, Bo Albert in 8th with Scotty Harris in 9th, and then Cam J. Taylor rounds out your field. Probably going to be ruining a bit there with Bo and Cam after their incidents there in the last couple of laps. But that rounds out round 2 of Cup Price Racing's Rallycross, hosted by OSR. And yeah, I mean, as we said, it's been an awesome night of racing where just every race kept getting better, just like it always does with Rallycross, with the way it all works, with getting the best drives into the final. It just gets better and better as the heats go on. And yeah, that was a cracking way to end the night, as I believe we do have a couple of interviews as well. So I guess it's only fitting, isn't it? Let's start with Emily. Let's get Emily in here to talk about that win. Emily, that was a amazing drive. Awesome job on the win. Super close. I mean, how was that from your view? Because from here in the commentary booth, that was just an epic final race.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Like I was quite nervous going into the race with qualifying. I didn't think I would. I don't know. There were just like some really good people in this race, so I was pretty like surprised with my qualifying lap. I don't know how I did that. So yeah, once I did that, I was just like, just do that for 15 times, and then you should be fine.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, well, it was we were you really brought us to the table with that lap. That was an absolutely outstanding lap. And I mean, how was it tonight for you for the whole sort of over the heats and getting through the final? Because obviously round one we had some awesome racing. We've had it again tonight. Some less numbers tonight, obviously being closer to Christmas. But I mean, has it been as awesome fun as round one?
Yeah, it's been really. I think I got quite lucky tonight in terms of avoiding the carnage. There were like a lot of crashes and stuff at turn one. Not as much as last week, but it was still. It's always busy at the start of these races, and I got very lucky. I didn't get caught up in any crashes, and from there the racing was really clean, and everyone just seems pretty happy to be in it. I feel like it's with a slightly smaller numbers. It's everyone here is like super. And they've all got good vibes, so it's all good.
For sure, yeah, for sure. And you know, I mean, with I asked this with a couple of drivers who popped in last week as well. Of all the tracks, I mean, is Iowa one of your favourites so far of the ones available, or is one of the other tracks that we maybe haven't gone to yet? Is one of them a bit more of one of your liking, I suppose?
Iowa's definitely my favorite. I thought that before this race, that it definitely confirmed it. For some reason it just kind of clicks with me. It's really technical, and I find it a lot of fun. I'm still trying to get my around the other tracks. I think I'm not as great at Lucas Oil, and Daytona Shore is all over the place. But yeah, no, this is definitely my favorite track. It's difficult to get the hairpins, I think, the most correct. But in terms of that, it's really fun, flowy track, I think.
For sure. And you know, this with the way the Joker is here as well, I mean, is that sort of did that sort of throw up a lot more curveballs because the Joker cuts out so much more lap than somewhere like Daytona does?
Yeah, I think it definitely plays into my favor a little bit because it completely takes you out of the race if you take the Joker. So in Daytona, when I was racing Daytona, it felt like we all had the strategy of if you're leading, take the Joker straight away so you can get away from any slow people who might Joker and jump you. But in this, it was like you didn't have to Joker because even if everybody Jokers, they'll be like half a lap ahead of you. So I don't know, it kind of gave me a little bit more strategy when I played the Joker, and I don't know, I think I quite like it. I quite like to drive on my own, and I had lots of music playing, so I was just like listening to music and just like chilling, doing laps. It was cool.
It's always an awesome feeling for sure. So I guess thanks again for coming in. Awesome job on the win. Awesome night of racing. And I guess before you go, any sponsor or anything you want to thank before you head off?
Thanks so much for TTR. They've been amazing this year. It's finishing my first year with the team, so they've been really great. Thanks to Stenny, Jake for racing as well in the RX series, and to Hill set. He's amazing. You know exactly what he's doing. So good to have him on the team. Apex Replicas, HRS, and everyone. And thank you guys for the call. I'll see you next year.
Yeah, no worries at all. It was a blast commentating. I'm sure Cam can and Jay can confirm that. But again, awesome job with the win, and yeah, see you next year.
Thanks.
No worries at all. So there's our winner for tonight, Emily Jones. Again, awesome drive. And another one of the TTR crew we have in here for an interview is Mr. Jake Burton. Jake, how was that for you? Obviously, went there at round one, but here tonight for round two. I mean, yeah, just how was it from your view, pretty much?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I was a little bit disappointed with my speed. I sort of was a little bit disappointed with how my car was handling on the tarmac. The way my driving style is, I like to run the corners really, really tight and straighten up the exits, and I just couldn't get the lock into it. I was having to put too much wheel into it, into some of the tarmac sections, and you probably saw on that last lap, holding back Larnach and stuff like that. I was okay on the dirt, but as soon as we hit the tarmac, I was struggling. But really big shout out to Emily. She surprised the hell out of me when she pulled that lap out, and kind of a testament to sort of what happens when we get a new discipline in sim racing. It levels the playing field, and you have people like Emily who maybe doesn't have 4 years of sim racing experience behind her come and show us all up. So yeah, really big shout out to her. But really enjoyed the race.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, and we were watching that battle actually with Scott throughout the race. I mean, he was keeping you honest and kept slowly picking away at you. And then that last lap, he was right up behind you, over the line even. I mean, how was that trying to keep him behind, especially as you said with the the tarmac maybe being a little bit weaker on that side of it?
Oh, it was a worsening problem for me. Like as I say, if you look at the quali times, I probably fluffed my lap a little bit. There was probably another tenth in it. There was no chance I was going to catch Emily, but I think over pretty much everyone else in the field, I had probably a tenth margin. But obviously, then once we head into the race and those fronts start getting worn down and it starts ploughing more, then everyone starts to come back. And additionally, 15 laps is the longest rallycross race I've ever done. 10's the longest in the past. So yeah, it just caught me out a little bit. But yeah, what can you do? I'm still pretty happy with the podium. Would have liked to make it a 1-2, but podium's cool.
Yeah, for sure. And with the I mentioned with Emily, I guess I'll mention with you as well, Jake. I mean, I guess what was your preference? Maybe is a better way to go. Do you like this sort of style where the Joker lap is such a big advantage in terms of cutting off such a big portion of the track, or do you prefer sort of maybe Daytona's version where it's not as sort of insane how much it cuts off the circuit?
It sort of depends what perspective you look at it from, because I think Iowa definitely made it a lot more unpredictable. Like when Luca actually came out in front of me, I was massively surprised. Like we had no real spotter tonight, so I worked out that on the relative, if it was about 10.5 seconds back, if they're more than that, they're going to have you. So yeah, it was just a massive surprise when he came past me. But yeah, personally, I'd prefer it to be a little bit more subtle. My favorite track, without a doubt, is actually Lucas Oil, where you've got that really, really edgy first Joker that always makes turn one carnage. But yeah, Iowa, for me personally, definitely a dump it off the schedule sort of track for me. Not a fan.
Oh, fair enough, fair enough. And Ace answers that one with your favorite track, but and looking forward to future rounds. I mean, obviously the hype's been there for RallyCross; it's just come out. But do you think we'll see a bit of a different sort of playing field in terms of the form guide? I mean, I know as you said, it really already has really thrown it up with the blending of dirt and asphalt. But do you think they'll continue on even after everyone's kind of the hype's gone and we get the sort of true races, I guess, of RallyCross?
I'd like to think so. Obviously, the first 2 weeks, especially week 13, given we had new licenses and stuff like that, everyone was like, why not? So we had 500 car fields and stuff like that, which is awesome to see. But I think, to be honest, it'll probably end up a little bit like Dirt Oval. It'll still have quite a strong community, but there's going to be the guys who are committed to racing Rallycross, and you might occasionally in a week 13 have guys jump over. But yeah, I know a lot of the guys at TTR, Healy, myself, Emily, have committed to racing Rallycross properly. So I'd like to think that that'll continue.
Sure.
But yeah.
Awesome. And I guess, yeah, well, again, awesome stuff on the third, Jake. Great iRacing for you as well. And I mean, no, same come from the same camp as Emily, but any sponsors or anything you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, just big thanks to the team, Healy, obviously the Rallycross master in terms of setup and stuff like that, and yeah, big thanks to Fuel Autotech, Momo HRS.
Awesome, thank you very much for coming in, Jake, and again, congratulations on the third, and just awesome job to the team for your results tonight.
Thanks a heap. See you next week.
Alright, see you then. So yeah, there you go. That pretty much rounds up our broadcast for tonight. I guess we'll get some closing thoughts from you, Cam, and then we'll start wrapping up. But I mean, yeah, as we said it really was crazy bonkers racing, that one, and that final really had a great crescendo, I think, for the evening. And it was great because we didn't see any massive crashes either. Everyone was able to really show their stuff throughout the race, and we had some really close battling, but really clean too.
Yeah, absolutely. It was an awesome night of racing, and that was just an absolute awesome way to top it off. And in fact, top off the year, as a matter of fact. So yeah, I cannot wait to see this series start back up on January the 11th and see some absolutely awesome racing again.
Yeah, for sure. So looking forward to that next year. Again, obviously another one of our many broadcasts we've got lined up for next year. Going to be an absolutely chockers year for us, and I'm sure for the greater sim racing community as a whole with how it's looking. It'll be an absolutely bonkers year for us sim racers in the community, which is awesome stuff and great for obviously the drama. But again, I hope you guys have enjoyed the racing tonight. That is our last broadcast of the year. We're wrapped up now for 2017. We'll have our break over Christmas and obviously enjoy Christmas and the new year. And then we're back on the 6th for Blancpain Endurance Series action from Spa, and should be an absolutely cracking way to start the new year with some GT3 endurance action before we go into our other series that'll go on throughout the year. So again, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Big thank you As always, to Jay Candy, has been just such a superstar with V8 Online this year, and I don't think we can ever thank him enough for the work he's done in the background and in commentary and just everything pretty much with V8 Online. Been awesome work from him and everyone else at V8 Online. Big congrats to all the commentators and everyone who we have on here. It's always awesome work with everyone who does the work here for V8 Online. Thank you, Cam, for joining me again. It was awesome fun, just like last week, to call with you again. And hopefully, I'm sure it will just keep getting better as we keep doing it, keep going to the series next year. And I look forward to that as well. Thomas Hintz here, been leading you through tonight. But again, hope you guys have had an awesome time watching the broadcast. Hope you all have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And we'll be back once again in early January 6th, to give you some more broadcasting action here on V8 Online. So until next time, it is bye for now.